Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the City of Palaca City Commission meeting on April 23rd. Welcome, I'll do that over again. Welcome to the City of Palaca City Commission meeting on April 23rd, 2026. It's 6 p.m. and I'm calling the meeting to order, starting with the invocation by Pastor Mulberry and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Campbell. Please stand if you're able.
Good evening, everyone. Father, again, we say thank you for another day. Thank you for another opportunity, a chance to come together in your presence. Pray, God, that your blessing will be upon the leadership that you provided for such a time as this. Thank you for touching our bodies and keeping us, bringing us for such a time as this. We pray that you would crown our heads with wisdom, give us understanding, and those things that are needful, God, to move forward in the right direction. We thank you for all that you've done for us. We're mindful of your kindness towards us. It is in Jesus' name we pray. Thank God. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in saluting our nation's flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Davis? Present. Commissioner Campbell?
Present.
Commissioner Borden?
Present.
Commissioner Jones?
Here.
Mayor Claire?
Present. We have quorum, thank you. Has everybody had an opportunity to read the minutes from March 18th, 2026 workshop, April 8th, 2026 budget workshop, and April 9th, 2026 commission meeting?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. On to public recognitions, presentations, and the Spotlight Employee of the Month, Ms. Jones.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. So, as you know, we have been recognizing an employee as well as departments for the past 3 years, and we want to just continue on it. However, HR did add a little loop to this so that we would get more people to participate in this. So we have also decided that as our employees nominate different individuals within the city, if their nominee wins, then that person that nominated will also receive a small token of appreciation for recognizing our employees. So this month, for the month of April, we would like to recognize Mr. Cody Haley, water treatment plant mechanic.
Commissioners, Mayor, this is Cody. Everybody's seen him a few times now. I rave about him all the time. Cody's been with the city 4 years. There is nothing Cody can't do in our water department. He makes that department function beautifully. If I have an issue, he takes care of it. Without Cody there, we would be in serious trouble. Cody has saved the city roughly, I could start with the top of my head, a minimum of $30,000 just on the painting of the buildings. And not to mention rehab he does on pumps, motors. Cody is a model employee, doesn't take a lot of time out. He's always willing to come in when we need him. It can be 2 o'clock in the morning and I call him up and he's traveling 40 minutes to get here to solve a 10-minute issue for me. So I am pleased to present Cody Haley.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Cody. Yeah, I have to photobomb.
You're good, Mayor. One. Got it.
Cody.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
New hire,
That's good. Sorry.
new hire presentation, Ms. Jones.
Okay, so we just want to actually welcome all of the new employees. And these are not just people that haven't, this is all of the employees, whether they've completed 90 days, because if we have felt the need to bring them in and welcome them into the city, we just want to acknowledge them. We have a CRA coordinator, Ms. Nicole Arth. Senior planner, Mr. Michael Hill. Our project manager, grants manager, Mr. David Baumgartner. Our grant administrator and writer, Mr. Christopher Glimpf. Finance specialist 2, Ms. Sarah Porth. Water plant operator trainee, Mr. Eric Johnson. Reclamation plant operator trainee, Mr. Aiden Martin. Water and sewer utility maintenance trainee, Mr. Aaron Sanchez. Refuse collector, Mr. Dakota Nicholson. Refuse collector, Bajoan Solon. Streets laborer, Mr. Josh Hewitt. And our engineer, Ms. Katen Weinish. Police officer, Mr. Stefanos Zakarkis. Okay. And police officer, Mr. Kadarius Poole. And our police victims advocate, Ms. Kathy Wright. And we just welcome all of these employees to the city of Palatka.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Home Rule Hero Award from Florida League of Cities.
All right.
Thank you.
Grab that mic and yell.
I can't see it. I'm sorry. For immediate release, City of Palatka, Florida, Florida League of Cities, FLC, the United Voice for Florida's Municipal Governments, recently recognized Palatka Commissioner Borum with the 2026 Home Rule Hero Award for their hard work and advocacy efforts during the 2026 legislative session. Commissioner Borum worked tirelessly throughout session to promote local voices, making local choices by sharing insights, local data, and real-world examples that helped inform state lawmakers and elevate the voice of Florida's cities. Local voices matter, and during the 2026 legislative session, these leaders made sure those voices were heard, said FLC Chief of Legislative Affairs Casey Cook. By engaging early, often, and thoughtfully, they helped elevate the municipal perspective and reinforce the importance of local decision-making. We sincerely appreciate their dedication and are proud to recognize their advocacy on behalf of Florida's cities. Home rule is the ability for a city to address local problems with local solutions with minimal state interference. Home Rule Hero Award recipients are local government officials, both elected and non-elected, who consistently responded to the League's request to reach out to members of the legislature and help give a local perspective on an issue. Congratulations, Commissioner Borum.
Thank you, Mayor, and that's just a small token of appreciation from the Florida League of Cities recognizing the work that's been put in. I've earned this award over the last 6 years, and I am honored to be a Home Rule Hero. It represents exactly what it says. Home Rule Hero allows you to make local decisions in the local municipalities as opposed to everything coming from Tallahassee. I know years past, when they first started out in 1922, everything was done in Tallahassee. And so you would have to wait a year before anything could be implemented as it relates to local laws, whether you wanted to change something with your speed zone, if you want to do anything as it relates to rules in your parks or streets or whatever, speed signs or whatever. So again, I want to thank everybody who supported me in this whole effort, and again, I want to continue to serve my city. Thank you.
before we go on, we do need to add an emergency item.
Yes, Mayor, a couple of items. The first item, I would like, if appropriate, to pull item B under regular business. And this is contingent upon, it's my understanding that there was there a resignation? Or officially, or I don't know. Item B
Item,
on page 2, under regular business.
under regular business, okay. No, we still have to discuss that.
Oh.
But yes, we still have to discuss who will be next.
Okay, just so the context of it will change.
Yes.
And I do have a
Yes,
question when we get
context of
there.
it will change.
But I would like to add an item.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to add under regular business, item C is city manager employment. So I move to add an agenda item C under regular business entitled city manager employment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we also need to add another emergency item in regards to the Port Consolidated property and a discussion about that under regular business as well, I assume. Is that correct, Ms. West? This is about a discussion about whether to move forward with the grant.
That's correct.
And this was brought to my attention by the city manager later this afternoon. So can somebody please make a motion to add that item?
Yes.
For consolidated discussion.
I move to add new agenda item, Port Consolidated under regular business.
Second.
The motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Back to the regular agenda. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Could we possibly swap that to
C and D.
C and D, let this put consolidated be C, and city manager concerns D. Would that be okay?
Is that fine with everybody? Okay. Okay, just changing order, okay. City manager administrative reports, projects, David,
At any given time, we have between 30 and 50 active projects going on throughout the city. Some are visible, some aren't. We got projects on the road, we got them under the ground. We got many different projects everywhere with water, wastewater facilities. Our projects team consists of myself, Chris Limp, who does all our grants administration and grants writing, Peggy Bachman, who does our grants accounting, Caitlin Warnish, who does the engineering for us. And we couldn't do any of this stuff at all. Joe Verrecchio helps us so much. Miss Carty helps us well. And another one that's not mentioned in there is Nicole. Nicole does so much for the help with the CRA business and everything. And it makes our lives bearable to have those people help us. That's just a little map of Palatka and all the projects. The projects span the whole length of the entire city, above ground, below ground, everywhere the city water flows. We'll have a current project at it at some time. Everywhere there's a road, you're gonna have a project there eventually. That's just a few pictures of all the water lines we have and sewer lines. We've got approximately, in this time we've done all the stuff, we just with the potable water and the sewer lines. We've done 42 manhole, relined the manhole covers. We've done over 3,000 feet of sewer lining and 12,000 feet of water pipe, just since we've been doing these projects. And there's your information. Y'all, I'm sure every one of y'all remember the River Street wall. It was more leaning than wall to begin with. This project was done, it was also done in less than 90 days. We had a sub, we stayed on them, we got the job done, and it looks great.
It does.
The Price Martin facility has been undergoing multiple improvements, mostly to harden the facility for when hurricanes and bad weather comes in. The Bronx and Mulholland House, this has been one that, since it's so close to City Hall, I put a lot of attention into since I'm just right there. I drive by there every morning before I come in, and I try to go by there every day at lunch to just see if people are actually on the job, and if they're not, we're gonna find out why they're not on the job. We did all the securing of the beams, did all that project, and in doing so, we also extended that contract to replace all of the rotten wood on the exterior of the property, and the original contract was only to paint the new deck and the new floor. In y'all's approval, we also got the entire building repainted as well after that. And I don't know if you had that other picture. I went there today, we didn't have time to put it on your PowerPoint, but I wanted the most up-to-date picture y'all can get.
Looks beautiful.
We're also going to be sodding the entire disturbed areas as well. Tillman House is another project we've done here recently. It's on, where the Riverside Park is. And the restoration had numerous items, including siding, windows, framing, insulation, and structural repair. We got that project, we got ahead of it, stayed on our subs, who did a great job with it, and they knocked it out of the park. Jenkins Middle School, which became the rec center, has went through a complete facelift. Projects involving this is upgrading the roof, upgrading the basketball court, and most importantly, construction of a new floor plan and the needs of the patrons. The next projects at Jenkins, which we're working on getting quotes in right now on, is doing the African American Newton Museum. And we should have that going here pretty soon, it looks like. We got active quotes going and we're looking pretty darn good on it. The affordable housing, we've got, as you can see, the 16 houses that we've done the $40,000 repairs on. We've also done the down payment assistance of $20,000 to help future home buyers into that. We also have the new affordable housing, which we actually actively have 3 houses in construction. And we also have 2 properties that we purchased that we're getting ready to be under construction on for 2 additional houses in that grant. And the one everybody wants to talk about. The Streetscapes project. It has been everything to me. But phase 1 of it's been completed. Phase 2 is currently underway. We met with everybody on Tuesday of this week. We had got a lot of better understanding with a lot of stuff. Per se, the sidewalk issue with the bump outs, that was just because we didn't have the correct plans. They had not sent them to us yet. But we got the correct plans now. We're making progress. We're working on an updated schedule. We're getting everything back on track. And tentatively, after meeting with the concrete guy, he's very serious. He honestly thinks he can meet this schedule because he's going to be working nonstop. And his attitude, I love his attitude. It's not, well, we're going to see what we can do. It's, we're going to get the job done. And that's hard to find in people nowadays. But he had it and I liked it. Other projects we got going on, there's a ton of them. We got projects with, upgrading sewer lines, upgrading water treatment facilities, and all kinds of things. One of the main ones is that the PowerPoint's supposed to have that scroll down nice and neatly, but it doesn't work. I'm not a computer genius. But we got a lot of them. We got, as you can see, the wildlife trench fencing, which is going to go around the whole perimeter of the airport. It's supposed to be 24,000 linear feet of fence. We've got that, the water taxi, Pride of Palatka 1. We already got Pride of Palatka 2 knocked out. Public Works Facility, I'm not going to talk too much about that because that's Joe's baby. And we got all those, and the biggest, most important one we got right now, the one everybody's looking forward to, is the splash pad. New projects are always a constant thing. It's always going to be going on here. And our goal is now to no longer be playing the catch-up game. We're going to do the job. We're not going to be asking for extensions. If you need an extension, it better be for an important reason. It's not going to be because we just fell asleep at the wheel. We don't do that anymore. And this could not be done at all without Chris. Chris does so much behind the scenes for us. He is always on top of his grants and everything. If I have an issue, whether it be part of my responsibility or his responsibility or vice versa, he's always there to pick up the slack and help in any way that he can. y'all have any questions at all, I greatly appreciate it.
No, thank you for everything, and I will say, I've heard from the merchants in the 600 block, and they are very pleased with how the sidewalk project is going at this point, one in particular. He
We
came
are
down
doing our
to tell me.
absolute best.
So he's very happy with how it's going. Go ahead.
I want to say thank you, even from the first time you came into the meeting and we gave you some very direct directions in order to get us back on track with some of the projects. We've heard nothing but progress since you've been here, and that has been music not only to my ears, I'm sure the commissioner's ears as well, but it actually gives us something tangible to give where our citizens are actually seeing these kind of things. So thank you, and I can say right now, we have the right person fighting for us in that seat.
I was just raised, if you do the job right the first time, it's quicker that way.
And keep that mentality and talk to whomever you got to talk to make sure that they stay on track.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Borum?
All right, I want to thank you for the phenomenal work you guys been doing with all of the projects. Only thing I have is a question around the water taxis. What work was done around those?
I'm sorry.
What projects was
That
needed
was
to
a
be completed?
non-grant project. We had the Pride of Plaque 1, this was before I started. I got to go on once they got it back up to snuff, passing code with the Coast Guard, I got to go on a boat ride. I'm not a boater, but got to go on a boat ride. We passed that one, and Joe is really, his Public Works is doing everything to get everything up to snuff on Pride of Plaque 1. What's being done, why it's taking so long, is we're trying to find a all-inclusive turnkey person to do all the work, as opposed to taking it to 5 different people.
Oh, okay, but so in terms of the project itself, how much is it costing to do repairs?
I don't know the Pride of Plaque 1, like I haven't got the prices yet, sir.
Okay.
Pride of Plaque 2, I believe, I'm not exactly sure, but I want to say it was around 30 to 35,000 off the top of my head.
Right, and so we just want to make sure that we're getting the best out of those water taxes. There was a project that started back in 2011, and so we still haven't gotten those things
It was
in
fun.
production, completely in production yet. So we want to make sure that
It
we.
was really fun to go through all the files to try to find the documentation.
Yes,
on
sir.
this.
But yeah, so that's just one of the things on my radar, at least, make sure that we spend these tax dollars fiscally responsibly.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Commissioner Davis.
David, thank you for this update. And of course, I have an administrative question. I know you're new in the role, and thank you. You're already making a difference. My question is about the tracking of city projects.
Okay.
And I had this conversation this week with the city manager. And as a retired project manager, I'm interested in understanding how the city tracks projects. And I don't necessarily need all the details or software, but I really want to encourage us to ensure that we're using software for projects, particular, that provides the information needed. My experience is when we're asking for this information, it's great, but what I also would like to see when we see a project is, I want to understand, is that project completed? I want to see a start date, an end date, I want to see the budget, I want to see the final numbers. So at a very high level, because this is great, but I don't know what went into it to get to the point we are. The other thing is, it would be very helpful for me, since historically the city has taken many years to implement projects that have been approved over here, but we're doing it over here. And there may be a time we need to reconsider, because it may not even be relevant by the time we get to it. So I think there's an opportunity for you as a project manager to do that, and that's what I'm just looking for, so thank you.
My goal with one of those statements is, when they get approved, let's get on the job.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff me and Chris have found some stuff that we didn't like, and our solution wasn't to just try to poke around with it and try to send an email. Emails are great. That's great to have your, proof and evidence. Mine does, I don't work that way. I pick up the phone, and if they don't answer the phone, I'm gonna call the next number until somebody answers that phone. And when I started here, that's how I did. I requested a meeting with every project. I wanted to meet who was on the job, get boots on the ground, and see the status, and see if we had issues, what can we do to fix them, what do we gotta do to get back on project. And that's how I've done it. And with your statement, I think it'd be great to have a building, like a Build Pro or something like that to go through to keep your status in project.
And what, again, I'm just asking if you could look at a software, again, I say it in most meetings, it is 2026, and it's the manual tracking is no longer acceptable for us to understand efficiency and getting things done. So I'm just hoping, being here, that opportunity will be vetted and a recommendation made based on your budget. But again, a comprehensive where it can track the resources, the project, the timeline, and change orders and all of that. Because we
don't
should,
change orders.
we don't, but they're inevitable because there's this thing called Murphy. But as long as they're handled appropriately, but that's just what I want to encourage you to do, please, and
What I
thank you.
do as of now, just so you know, every week, I talk to every one of the projects to see what's going on, and then I make a note of it, and then I update it in my note system.
Thank you.
Just a Word document.
Exactly.
But
And so what
it's
I'm getting
2026,
at,
you're right.
so let me go ahead and add my caveat, and I'm sure Ms. Pierre will understand where I'm coming from. When you're reporting to the commission, we're looking for executive level, right? High-level trends that impact scope, money, time, and of course, making sure on time, on budget, on schedule. You know the basics. And so, again, I just want you to be aware that that is an ask, and I want to speak for the commission, but I think they will agree. Thank you very much,
I would love
David.
to have a build software.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can do it, you can also do it in Excel, I mean, Robin, no, for now, I mean, it's in for, Excel, if he's.
We are
Right,
doing it in
there's a
Excel.
number of different ways you can do it,
Yeah.
but again, it's not gonna happen in Word, I know that.
Right, it's in Excel.
Excel has the capability, so again, we're looking for software that will do the job, though.
We have it in Excel, I have that, but for my notes, like what the updates on the projects and whatnot, I have that in Word.
Yeah.
I do the best I can with what I have.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Financial report, Ms. Pierre?
Greetings, everyone. We have our wonderful dashboard ready for you. We are 50% into the year, March 31st, 6 months in. And overall, our financial condition is stable. We, as a city, overall, the actual revenues, we're monitoring. Essentially, as long as our expenditures are not exceeding revenues, then we're in fairly good shape. But the fact that this is in trend with prior years, where March is when our ad valorem starts tapering down and revenue starts slowing down. So we'll be monitoring our cash very closely at this point. We also have the airport fund that we are monitoring closely, along with the utility fund. But essentially, all three that are in yellow are, as long as our revenues are higher than our expenditures, we're in fairly good shape. We can go to the next page. The next page is a list of all of our general fund departments. Page 2, yep. As you can see, the majority of the departments are in the green, which are stable. The other government services is really comprised of liability insurance, which is the highest cost that gets paid in quarterly amounts. So that amount in yellow is primarily due to the liability insurance costs. And as you can imagine, we're a large city. We have a lot of items and buildings and capital and things that are covered by that liability insurance. The transfers are also what we're monitoring closely. But with transfers, the transfers are made up of what we call discrete allocations that are planned in the beginning of the year during the budget season, and they're incorporated in the budget. and just divide it, like we take the total amount, we divide it by 12 months period, and we're basically recording that each month for our transfers. And okay, we can go to the next page. Okay, so the reserves. So with the reserves, we have the airport fund in the red there, but I have met with the airport manager. The last time I presented the financials, Commissioner Campbell, I see you locked in, looking at me. Yes, I did prepare a memo, and I sent out an email to all the commissioners beforehand to make sure we were all on the same page as far as what the corrective action we were going to take. I did meet, when I met with the airport manager, he did provide input as far as the corrective action memo, so that we can put our reserves for the airport in the right direction. We want to make sure the airport is in a position to have the funds available for grants, to match grant funding, to improve technology. We saw the wonderful presentation he prepared at the last meeting, so the reserves will just help feed into that vision that he put out. And I believe everyone has a copy of the, if you just, it was sent in an
Yes,
email, but.
Yes,
but I'm
yes,
also.
yes, we did, yes.
Okay, so it has a detailed plan as far as what we can do, and it's a conservative approach that we're taking to build up revenues to the place where we want it to be. And monitoring closely the sanitation reserves. And that concludes my report.
Does anybody have any questions, Ms. Davis?
I do, and I just want to clarify, especially on the reserves here. So I know that typically these, is in the note, it says grant funds, capital funds, tax increment funds typically don't need a reserve, right? And so when I'm looking at this slide and I see the red for airport, green and yellow, and I know we talked about this briefly before and you gave us this document to talk about it. Again, I think it's a little bit misleading, and here's my question.
Okay.
Do we need reserve? I mean, of course, we don't want to have expenses greater than revenues, but is this a little misleading to have these three funds there other than for just kind of tracking purposes? You know, when I see red, it's like womp, 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 womp. But we're not, that's not a reserve tracking fund, I guess I'm trying to say. Is my understanding correct?
To make sure I'm understanding your question, you're talking about the last sentence at the bottom of the
Yes.
page. Those
Yes.
three, the
Yes.
grant funds, capital funds, increment funds.
Yeah.
In the
yes.
simplest, purest way to look at it is, if I were a child and you as a parent were giving me a allowance every month, and that I'm counting as my revenue, but really it's just my parent giving me an allowance. So that's really what we're doing. With the grant funds, we have matching funds in the budget where you have the funds coming from another fund, and we're just, either providing the funds. Like, the funds are not self-sustaining, is what I'm trying to say. Grant funds are created for the purpose to receive federal, state grant funding. So we're essentially receiving an allowance or a form of payment from an outside. In this case, it's a grant. And then with capital funds, the purpose of those funds, we're getting funds from multiple different sources to pay for a specific capital project. So all three funds are receiving, they're not really earning revenue. They're not really operating on their own. They're counting on another source to receive that funding. So that's where a reserve wouldn't really make sense, because the purpose of the fund in itself is to pay for a capital project, to adhere to the rules and requests of a grantor, and also for the tax increment funds, we receive one source of fund from the, okay, hopefully I'm making sense.
You are, but I think, again, I appreciate your detail, but you're a little deeper than my question.
Okay.
Really, what I'm saying on this slide, I don't know that we need to have airport utilities and sanitation here. That's really what I was saying, because I think what we really track, and correct me if I'm wrong, is really ensuring that we have reserves in our general fund.
I'm going to
That's-
disagree. I'm going to agree to disagree. Let's say it that way. I'm going to agree to disagree in the sense that airport fund, utility funds are what we call enterprise funds that should be self-sustaining, self-supporting. We want them to have strong reserves in the case of emergencies, operational reserves in the case of, for whatever reason, the federal, we've had it in the past where the federal government shut down and we're relying on other forms of government. If they shut down, we need to have reserves in place, at least 3 to 6 months worth of reserves to continue operating. So that would be your operational reserves, and then your capital reserves would be in place for aging infrastructure, which we have a lot of. So I believe the airport and utilities we should look at their reserves because they are essentially, should be self-sustaining funds that should have the strong reserves in place so that if a sanitation truck breaks down, we have the reserves to pay for that and replace it.
I understand. So then you're driving me to another question. Then who defines the target percentage or the reserve amount?
That's a great question. So for, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the, okay.
I
So
can
for-
answer, but I prefer you.
Okay, so for the airport has the FAA, and I'm going to just turn to, is the airport manager here?
Yes.
Okay, so the FAA has guidance, because we do receive a lot of funding from the FAA, FDOT. They have what we call assurances
I'm familiar.
that they're required, okay.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Okay.
Just a simple question. Who determines that this 3.93% is red? What guidance is are you saying the FAA? Or are you saying the City of Palaca's Finance Department?
I'm
That's really
saying-
my question.
I'm saying best practices.
Okay.
I'm saying best practices,
Per?
professional judgment from the finance director.
Okay, thank you. That was
That's
my
all she
question.
said.
That's all I've been asking. Because I know that for the general fund, there's a standard identified at a level, a standard. And so, again, the statement says typically don't need a reserve, and then yet it's a little bit misleading. Let me say that. We can take this offline. But what I just was trying to get to is I'm not aware of a standard set by any association or governing association for airport fund to say that 3.93% is red. Now, if that is the city standard, or if I'm mistaken, that's really what I'm trying to confirm. When I see red, that's a big deal, and I know you gave me this document.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And if not, we can take it offline.
It does absolutely make sense. Within the document, I'm sourcing best practices and grabbing information from the GFOA, grabbing information from the FAA, grabbing information from FDOT.
Thank you.
So
that's the
best
answer to my
practices.
question.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions of Ms. Pia?
Thank you, Ms. Peters.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Excellent report.
City manager report.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I wanted to share about Port Consolidated environmental update. In summary, I've been working with Mr. Russo as our engineering operations manager, also with city attorney, and basically he's saying the remediation system should not impact the building. The footprint is far away, and there won't be any safety concerns, in his opinion, posed to the building by their system. Tonight, we received information, actually, from Florida Department of Environmental pursuing the remediation of Port Consolidated. The next slide would be lead assessment, and moving on to Palaca Water Treatment Plant. Again, the same company, Montrose, have completed a limited soil quality evaluation to determine if lead is having an adverse effect. They did find an impact there. However, even after finding it, the Skeet Club did commit to the cleanup effort, so it's still good. It's a good solution per a recent meeting that we held last week. And the final slide, I guess I'm moving a little fast. The final slide is the Employee Community Cleanup Day on April 29th. We will be cleaning up the city and different areas, and that's the employees' engagement and also giving back to the city community itself. Additionally, I wanted to talk about the lobbyists. They did give us an update that the Senate and the House will be meeting May 12th through May 29th, and that the budget conference will be held May 12th and extend through May 15th. Additionally, the governor did pass the bill in reference to diversity, DEE, that policy, any policies like that will be banned, and that starts January 1st, 2027. Finally, our annual report is pretty much done, and we hope to present that soon. That's it.
How soon?
Oh, that can be within, as soon as we can have a date to present. So we're at the very end. This is our very end right here. I would say a day or two we should be complete, and we just need a date to present to the city itself. And so Ms. Karen will contact, and we will schedule that date. I did send out to each commissioner, but now we're completed even more.
Okay, and so that she will be contacted, so that will be within the week or 2 weeks, or give us a rough
I would say
timeline.
within about 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
Not tomorrow, but by next Tuesday, we should be able to call. And what we would need is to schedule, when can we make the presentation? And we just need scheduling.
So, I'm gonna help you. Let's go ahead and plan that now,
We can.
because this has been something that has been long overdue. Other communities, our county, all of that stuff has already been provided. And I think this is something that is important. We've given time, we've stayed patient, and I think this is something, if scheduling is the thing, you have it where you'll be done within the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and have this conversation now so that we
Okay.
can go ahead and implement, so that we can get this out to the community as well as get this on our calendars.
So
Go
when-
ahead. Well, actually,
Oh,
Commissioner
sorry.
Jones.
I'll
was
let
before you,
Commissioner Jones go.
It don't have anything to do with that. Another question.
Okay, so we'll wait a minute, then, Commissioner.
So
Beard.
my question, if I may address it to the PIO, because I know that, in my opinion, this is something that falls under her purview in her job, and I'd like to hear about best practices for presenting state of the city, because I'd like to, that's my question. What is the best way, considering our city, and that we want to give this information out of how the city performed last year, do you recommend presenting that?
Normally, it would come in as an annual report, which is a very visual, bullet-oriented presentation. It's a booklet very similar to what Putnam County put out. Most cities will follow that up with a presentation called the State of the City Address, which is usually a delivery by the city manager of a speech highlighting just the points of that we've achieved through the course of the previous year. And that is not normally a large presentation. It usually is about 30 to 45 minutes. And then the annual report is in publication for public distribution, and also for the general public online, that we put online.
Thank you. So to that point, what I'm hearing is it should possibly be a separate meeting, not as part of a commission meeting, or I'm just asking for recommendations from the PIO first, please.
I would think that trying to do it either prior to a commission meeting, because it is only the 30 minutes. That's an option. If the meeting wanted to begin earlier, I don't know how that works for meeting scheduling. That would be an option. Otherwise, it would be an additional special meeting for about 30 to 45 minutes.
Thank you. I just wanted the option so we know what we're considering.
And again, are we considering, there's two different things here. There's an annual report and there's a state of the city. And, you know, what are we looking at? I'm looking for the annual report, frankly, at this point.
Yeah, the state
Given how
of,
late
the
we
state
are
is,
in the
the
game.
state of the city is usually a speech. It's an address,
Yeah.
kind of like the State of the Union or
I
that
know
kind
what
of
it
thing.
is, but I mean, I think we're looking for an annual report
Yeah,
at this
the
point. At
annual
least that's
report,
what
yeah.
I feel I'm looking for. Go ahead, do you want to, go ahead?
Well, I just want to make a comment, and when
Go ahead,
everybody's
please.
finished. I mean, I think, I'm not sure, this is the first time that the city has ever even entertained something like that, so
No, it's not.
when was the last time the city
It was
did
done under
a
Mayor
state,
Hill.
sir?
It was done under Mayor Hill.
And who's the city manager at the time?
The state of the city, in comprehensive,
We had-
comprehensively?
Mhm.
Okay, I'd like to see it. I know if it was, I don't think it was done this comprehensively. If I like to get the report, now, I just want to see it.
Yeah, I think we just don't want to see the report at this point.
No, I just want to see the report,
Oh,
the previous
previous
report
one.
that was just communicated. So if I can get that electronically or however, I like to see it. I don't know if we've ever had it to this degree. That's my point.
Okay. Anybody else on this topic?
I'll look
And
for it.
Again, what's the resolution? I still don't
Commissioner
know.
Borm, I'll look for that for you.
Thank you.
Okay, so at this point, Commissioner Campbell did request to discuss it or to have it presented now. What do we want to go with? And I'm talking about the annual report versus the state of the city.
What's our next meeting?
The next meeting is,
May 18th, right?
actually, the next meeting is April 29th, and that's a budget workshop, so you can either have it before.
Budget workshop.
Can we do it then?
I can
Commissioner?
do that as soon as
Is everybody comfortable with that?
It shouldn't be that much more. You show me a book over there, and that's,
That's what I'm saying, shouldn't take.
that's a lot more than I think we are looking for, to be honest
Let
with
me
you.
pass
You don't have to
it.
highlight everything that
Pass
we've
it
done.
to
Yeah, we have it
As a
on
city.
email. We have it on email.
Can I
Yeah.
ask
Send
for?
an email.
Go ahead, Commissioner Biggs.
So one of the things, I just want to say, my point was not to discuss how the work gets done. It's done, they've done it, but how do we present it to our city
Right.
in a format? And it sounds like we need 30 minutes, so is an option prior to our
That's fine at this
planned
point.
workshop,
Yeah, that's fine.
half an hour before, sounds like.
That's fine at this point.
So that way we don't
fine.
have to schedule a different meeting.
Right.
So what time is the workshop planned for?
The workshop is at 6 o'clock, so you wouldn't like to have it
5:30.
at 5:30?
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
please.
motion?
Go ahead, please.
I move that that the 2025 annual report of the city be presented from 5:30 to 6 PM on April 29th.
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
The motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Question, I
opposition?
got to call a question. Can I? Well,
Go ahead.
Got a second. I will be on vacation out of town at that time, but if that's the will of the commission, can continue with that date. So
Okay.
that's my comment.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. Anything
That's
el-
it. Thank
Okay.
you.
So I had
Go
a
ahead. Oh, yes, I'm
question
sorry.
about
Yes, you
some of the
did.
stuff
Go
that you
ahead.
mentioned. You mentioned a employee cleanup day, and I received a call in reference to that from an employee, and the question was a good question, I think. Is that going to be a work day for the employees?
Yes, it is, and it is really an employee engagement. You know, we're building them around, and that's what it is.
So we're
So-
asking them to do something that they're already doing.
Oh, wait, no. That means, as I'm getting it right, the city clerk will be going out picking up trash. Is that what you're?
What we're doing is employee
I'm
engagement.
not. So
from-
the engagement,
Okay,
the city clerk will also be going out picking up trash.
if she wants to and she wants to engage, yes.
So, yeah. Well, have you actually, it won't be no penalties for employees that don't actually want to do that.
No, sir.
So I got a phone call just, from an employee, and be just transparent that they didn't want to actually do that, but they feel compelled, they feel that, it may jeopardize their employment
Oh, no.
if they don't participate, or they'll be looked at differently. I thought it was going to be on a Saturday or something, so a voluntary based deal. Secondly, it's 3 hours. It's 3 hours long.
We're having lunch together. We're going to, what we're doing is trying to build the morale of the employees. And we did it last year. And no one said anything, no one gave any
I wouldn't have knew about it if I didn't
compliments
get the call.
or,
I promise you.
we sent the pictures out. It was well-known. So if you all did not want it during a workday, then, we would have taken that into consideration, but we did not know. And we had other events as well. We had something like a chili cookout, which was on a weekend. So we've done it both ways.
It's just, I want to bring it up now
Yes, sir.
before you get complaints later.
Yes, of
So-
course.
So if nobody have anything further to say about it, that's okay with me. But I just want to make sure that it's not going to be negative impacted to someone else's job if they do not participate and go out and clean up during their regular scheduled workday.
It's voluntary.
So it's not one of those things under the job description, all other duties as assigned. This is
sir.
not one of those things, all right?
This is voluntary.
Okay.
If people want to engage us, they did last year. We did this last year, and this is the second time.
That's all I wanted to ask, and I wanted to clarify it from you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We're going to go on to public comments. This is public comments for items not specified on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, and no action will be taken on these items. Is there anybody here for public comments for items not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll close public comments. On to the consent agenda. Are there any items to be pulled from the consent agenda? Go ahead.
E and F, just for discussion purposes.
E and F. Okay.
Hold on.
Anything?
ENF?
Anybody else?
Hold on.
Nothing? Nothing? Commissioner Campbell, anything? No? Commissioner Barr, anything? No? Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda excluding items E and F, E and F for consideration.
We have a motion, second. We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. E, adopt resolution 2026 R68, adopt resolution of the City of Palaca, Florida, granting special events permit to visit Palaca Summer Night Lights, setting forth the provisions of the permit, and granting permission for road closures, amplified sound, and alcohol. Mr. Cartwright?
We generally.
I just have a question.
Yes.
So I will tell you, I wanted to pull this for discussion purposes because the city already has some scheduled events on the calendar that we previously approved. I will tell you that after reviewing this, I am in support of organizations hosting events in the city rather than the city hosting them because we use taxpayer funds to do it. So I just want to be clear about my position for that. The point I want to make is if this resolution passes, then do we need to take any action to go back and remove those items? Because I want to be clear that I'm not in favor of approving this. Well, I'm in favor of approving this, but I'm not in favor of the city continuing with the planned activities that are very similar. If that,
Are there any conflicting at same dates activities that the city's planned?
Throughout this timeframe, no.
well, my point is not conflicting dates.
Okay, it's just an
My
all.
point is duplicating similar events. And so my question is, with this being submitted, if this is approved, is the city planning to continue having the events that are on the calendar?
Well, only two events that we're gonna have that's decided that was the Fourth of July event, and then we also have what we call Jingle Jam, which is in December.
Okay.
Those are only two. The Summer Jam series was something we tried to see if we would do, but this would kind of take the place of the Summer Jam series.
Thank you, that's really my question. If you guys.
Go ahead, Commissioner Campbell.
So I have a comment/concern, and this may be something that is talked about at the submitting of an application. I saw a whole campaign being done with regards to this event prior to it even being brought before the commission with regards to this event seeming as if it's already been approved. I think that sends a mixed message to our citizens, and it puts us in an awkward situation because it appears that, for me, we're forced, for lack of a better term, to do something. Because if this was to get voted down, and I'm just speaking in general, a whole campaign that was already done on Facebook now could look as if we've shot something down that was community-driven. And this has been out on social media for a month or two prior to it even being brought before the commission.
Okay, so the promoting it from the special event team meeting, I take full blame for that. In conversation with Ms. Gabriella and then Mr. Holmes that was at the meeting, I said that looking at everything they are asking for and things that they are planning to do, that it looked like it would be an event that we should probably approve. So I take full responsibility of that from the special event meeting. Anything you said a month ago, anything before a month, I cannot control that. But from the special event meeting till now, I take full.
It's been up for a while, and that's not the only event that I'm referencing, but this is we're here. But I think there should be, you can't make the assumption that something is going to pass based on the type of event.
Yes.
Again, there is a process, and we expect the process to be followed. I just don't want things to be put out, because what are there some things that, as a commission, we feel that needs to be vetted, or there may be just, there's too much room for scrutiny based on something being promoted prior to it officially being approved by the commission.
And you're right on. Normally, we try to say, wait till this commissioner, and there was a conversation, and again, I follow on that sort. But going forward, everything will be vetted through, don't put anything out, don't say anything to anybody until after it came to a vote from y'all.
Commissioner Davis, go ahead.
I was going to say, one way we can prevent this is that ensuring that when items are submitted, that we have the meetings timely so that we can get them on the agenda as soon as possible. And that way, we're not backed up against if something being approved and decreasing the advertising time. I think that could solve this. It's okay to approve something early enough if we're going to do it and it's met all the criteria. And that then gives the sponsoring organization time to meet, proactively meet their, so I think that may be a quick fix, right? So don't come so late to the commission.
And what we put in place, most of your Class A events now have
Yes.
121 days,
Okay.
120 days, and your Class Bs are at least 90 days or more before we bring it to y'all attention at least 90 days prior to the event. So we're trying to put things in place to mitigate some of these things that just happened. But again, this one right here, from the special event team, I own it.
Okay.
So if there's any issues, I'll take the blame for it.
Okay. Madam,
Anybody else have, go ahead, Commissioner Jones.
So, excuse me, for this event, are they using any officers? Does this say 2 officers that they're gonna have to?
Yes.
So they're gonna have to pay for 2 officers. It's usually broken down what they're gonna be paying for. I don't see it in here.
It would have been in the package.
I
We
thought
wrote
this was
down
the
that,
packet.
But if not, that was a scribbler error on the package that was turned in, so that's why we're trying to correct that now. But yeah, they got 2 officers, they have their own trash can services, so they're gonna utilize that. And then they're paying for amplified sound permit, and also they're paying for alcohol.
Okay, and the reason why I ask is because of the Easter event that was at Hank Brown Park. 100 block of Memorial is a park. And so the question was that the Easter egg event they had to leave the park at 7:00 p.m., they were told. And this event is to 10 p.m. Was that just for that particular event, that's what they requested, or will 10 o'clock? I just want to know going forward, when we look at
To my
these
knowledge,
things.
because I heard about that, to my knowledge, it was not mandated that they had to leave at 7, but it was conversation on the application that they put in there, that they were trying to leave at dusk, when the park was closed. Now, by rule is you can stay up to 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock.
But that requires, depending on where you're at, if it's proper lighting, if it's not proper lighting or a residential area, it requires more law enforcement and everything to put in place. But nobody has been told that I know, and I go back and check with my staff, that they had to be out of somewhere by a certain time before 11 o'clock.
Okay. And the number of officers, let's say 500 attendees are expected. And how many officers for the 500?
They asked for 2. I mean, Captain Williams and Fallon was in there, and they agreed on 2 officers.
I just want to be consistent
Yeah.
when we go forward with other events, so that we won't have to answer these questions that we get. Hey, why did my event cost this much, and why is this? And believe it.
And you're right, but
you know.
the law enforcement piece, I defer to Captain Williams, Officer Fallon, and Officer Keith to see how many they think they need for this event. This event might change to more officers after the first one, because this is the first event that they're throwing. But right now, the law enforcement said they think they can handle this with just 2 officers. And the normal officers on shift on that.
So that leads me to another question. So after this first event, if it is bigger,
We can
then what-
increase the officers, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it won't be.
Yeah, we'll invoice them, as we talked in the meeting, you can get invoice and later date for if we have to have more things come, like when we talked about the trash cans. If we deem that the trash cans are overflowing and we gotta bring trash cans down there, they will get invoiced for the trash cans we bring.
Are we providing restroom?
Well, they're utilizing the restroom that we have down there right now, the Port Consolidated, the taxi terminal building.
The bait shop,
They're using that.
yeah, they're using that.
Madam Mayor,
Those are my questions.
Anybody else? Commissioner Davis?
if there are no more questions.
Is anybody else?
If no more questions, I just
Okay,
want to make sure.
go ahead.
I move that we adopt item E of the consent agenda.
Second. Second.
The motion is second. Is there anybody here for public comment on this item?
Yes, ma'am.
Please come up. Ms. Kitchens?
Legal Kitchens, Palatka, Florida. My concern is this, I won't go into minute detail. This is the 3rd or 4th thing that I have witnessed as a citizen where it appears the staff is doing an end run around the commission. Mr. Campbell brought up the point that this was already advertised on Facebook before you all heard about it. Late last year, early this year, there was an issue you all voted on, and then staff presented additional information, and you had to reconsider your vote. There's an issue coming up tonight that you all talked about it a couple of months ago. It's back again. I, as a citizen and a former commissioner, am just a little bit concerned. I'll give you any comment. You all think about it. I'm concerned that apparently some of the staff, sometimes, if you want to fall on the sword, that's fine, but I'm not faulting anybody. I'm just saying it looks like the staff keeps on doing things that the commission is not aware of or bringing them back. And to me, it looks like an end run around the commission. It appears that sometimes the staff is trying to run the city instead of you, my elected commissioners. And that gives me, to use our former city attorney's words, heartburn. So I have no particular problem with this event. I have a problem with events continuing downtown if they're allowed enough to disturb the citizens. If you keep the sound down where it doesn't go out a mile, then it's fine. And state law, if I remember correctly, does provide you have to have X number of officers for X number of people when alcohol is served. But I have no particular problem with this as long as it doesn't disturb my neighborhood and my peace and quiet. But I am concerned about things coming to you all, like you all just said, that after it's done after the fact. I'm very concerned about that. I'm concerned for you. I'm concerned as a citizen. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else here for public comment? Please fill out a yellow card when you're done. And give us your,
After I speak, please.
yes, you can do that after you speak. Please give us your name and city or town of residence.
Don Holmes, 222 North 3rd Street, Palatka, Florida. I really don't think there's a sword ready to fall on, quite frankly. I attended the special event meeting. He had representatives from the police department, from sanitation, from, I don't know, all the relevant, fire department, from all the relevant agencies. I thought they were very thorough. I was there when he asked the police department how many officers, and we agreed that if after the first of the 6 events, they thought more were needed, then we would accommodate that. The folks from the Boathouse Marine were there to voice their support for this event and the use of the bathrooms, and I think they would ask specifically that they be left open. And there was no attempt on our part, and I didn't sense any attempt from staff's part to do an end run around the commission. It looked like the kind of event that you promoted in the past, relatively low impact. My client's paying for its own garbage, not only just collection, but the containers themselves. They're taking care of the bathrooms, they're paying for the police officers. They're also paying for an administrative staff to be down there in case your staff thinks that something more is needed, right? So, which I did not remember happening in the past. I know a lot of us, when I was with the city, were at events voluntarily or as part of our job, but I didn't remember us having to pay for an admin person to be there to watch. Eddie said it was necessary. My folks agreed to it. So I don't know, it appeared to me that we were doing, and they were doing, everything they could to protect the city and make sure that all the interests were covered. And at the end of the meeting, one of the staff, one of the folks from my client said, can we go ahead and start advertising it because that date's approaching? And it was just said, yeah, this looks like something the city would approve. So there wasn't any intent to circumvent or run around the commission. It was just one of those things where we met with everybody there and interested parties, and everybody thought that it was something the city would want to promote and not have, and it was a promotion that wouldn't require the city to put any money in it. So I don't think anybody thought there was anything nefarious or, clandestine about it. We were just trying to go forward. So, hey, Eddie's big enough to fall on a sword, but I just hate to see him.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Anybody else for public comment? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. On to item F, adopt resolution 2026-70, a resolution of the city of Palatka, Florida, approving an honorary street name designating Napoleon Street and the city of Palatka to also be known as Fred R. Brooks Street, providing for conflict severability and providing an effective date.
So I pulled that as well, and I will say I am in support of adopting this resolution. The reason I pulled it is because to get to this point, to go back, we had some missing information, right, to make this decision. So I pulled it to discuss for the city to have some standard procedure or process, so when people come with this kind of request, we can give them the options. One is an honorary renaming, and one is the full renaming, and so we can direct them to the county.
Yes.
And then the other part is, if this is adopted tonight, do we have processes in place to define when the sign gets done? What does that look like? So that's the reason I pulled it, to understand the process surrounding it, so we can have some consistencies if these things come in the future.
It makes sense to
Some
have
of us may or may
guidelines.
not be here. I mean, I didn't even know until we heard it. So that's the reason I pulled it.
Yeah, we definitely need guidelines,
Okay.
so that the next group
Correct.
won't have to guess.
Yeah, we look like we know what we're doing.
Yeah. Anybody else? Do we have a motion?
I move that we adopt Resolution 2026-R-70.
Second.
The motion is second. Is there anybody here for public comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. On to discussion direction. City of Palatka policy governing boards and committees. Ms. Potty or Ms. West?
I'd like Ms. West.
Good evening, Commissioners. We have a couple of documents to review in this agenda item, and I'd like to start first, Madam Clerk, with the revised proposed board application. Took some time to try and address the issue of not revising the entire application, so we would have a separate application for every single board and committee, since some have different criteria. So this application does a couple of things that were requested by the commission. First of all, it welcomes the applicant, and it makes it a priority that preparation and consistent participation are essential for ensuring effective meetings. So at the very top, it puts emphasis on attendance requirements, since that has been an issue. And essentially, a member may be recommended for review, it's not mandatory, by the city commission if a member is absent for 3 consecutive regular meetings or attends less than 75% of the meetings within a 12-month period. So that is optional, fully within the discretion of the city commission, but at least there you have a threshold that is being communicated at the outset of them even applying for this position, so they have a clear understanding. Furthermore, the absence is not qualified in any way. It's not an excused or unexcused, it's just an absence. So it makes it really simple for the public who's participating to understand. Next, what I have done here is basically put an asterisk by every single board or committee that has specific criteria for membership that is somehow codified in a policy, in a resolution, or an ordinance. That puts the burden back onto the applicant to find out what that is. And that's not a heavy burden. All they need to do is contact the city clerk has all the resolutions and the ordinances that are applicable for all these boards and committees. So all they need to do is contact the clerk and find out, well, hey, what are those criteria? And if you go to the next page, you can see there's the standard item for professional qualifications, but in addition to that, it asks criteria for membership required? Yes, no, so it prompts them to go ahead and answer what that would be. And so for the most part, the application stays pretty much the same as it always has. We just added some provisions to remind them about attendance requirements and also puts the burden on them to find out what the specific criteria is. Okay, so that's the board application. Next document, please. So I thought it would be helpful to have some understanding as to all the various boards and committees, and I think there's about 17, how they get formed. They can get formed either through the charter, through an ordinance, a resolution, or even a policy. And these are the different ways that they can be modified. So if it's adopted by ordinance, it can only be changed by another ordinance or through the charter. If it's adopted by a resolution, it can be changed by a resolution, an ordinance, or the charter. So the reason I put this in there is because I wanted to make it clear that if there's criteria set forth in an ordinance, we can't just change that by resolution. We have to go through the whole ordinance process, the advertising, and the various hearings in order to change that criteria. And I mention that because there is a request, for example, on the Airport Advisory Board to also lower that number down a bit. And because that was adopted fairly recently, as you recall, by ordinance, you would also have to consider that by ordinance. And so all you need to do, if that's the will of the commission, is tell me, yes, Jane, go ahead and draft that ordinance for our consideration. But I wanted to make that clear in terms of the city's governing documents. And then you have all the boards and committees and the method that they were established. You had this in a different format provided about a year and a half ago. This is your more updated version, and it includes your Public Art Committee, which was adopted by ordinance, which is one of the lowest bars, and it has 7 members. Okay, next document, please. So this is the policy that you were requesting, and it basically establishes a consistent approach to our volunteer board and committee appointments. It goes over the recruitment, which is something that you specifically asked for. So we just have a standard mechanism where the vacancies will be advertised across multiple platforms. They shall be posted at least 30 days prior to appointments, when practicable. And it also codifies some of the board expectations, so people understand what they're getting into. It reemphasizes the attendance threshold, and it makes it clear what the pre-removal process would be, and then the removal process, and what the replacement procedure should be. If you could go on to the next document, please. So this is basically the orientation guide for those new board and committee members. This is important. This isn't something that has been done in a standardized way. We have two of our Charter Review Committee members here, our chair, and then also Mr. Norwood. And if they recall,
And Ms.
when they,
Kitchens.
oh, and Ms. Kitchens as well. If they recall, when that committee first was formed, one of the very first things that we did, the former clerk and I, was introduce them to the whole concept of sunshine law, and they had basically a crash course on Florida Sunshine Law, which is really important for all of our boards and committees to be exposed to. And Commissioner Davis, you recall that as well. So basically, this reemphasizes their role, the method under which their particular board was established, what their core responsibilities are, emphasizing regular attendance, and hey, you're expected to review your materials in advance. You're expected to participate in discussions. You're expected to provide informed input and act in the best interest of the city. It goes through sunshine, public participation is emphasized, and then also ethics and conflicts. I had to put in a little bit of caveat for our quasi-judicial boards, which really only pertains to our planning and historic preservation boards, and then also financial disclosures if they're applicable. Moving on to the final document. This is basically for our internal staff, so they have an idea of what they should be doing for our volunteer board and committee members. A lot of the information is repetitive, but it essentially makes it clear what they need to do anytime a new board or committee member basically joins, or if you form a new board or committee member. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but this basically seeks to establish a consistent procedural framework with transparency for members of the public and our various boards and committees that serve us in a volunteer capacity.
Does anybody have any questions of Ms. West? Commissioner Davis?
I just have a, thank you.
You're welcome.
Very much. One of my concerns, this is great, and this definitely captures what we talked about in the workshop. One of my concerns is if a citizen comes in to complete an application manually, and if there are requirements for the specific board, and they're adding them by getting the information from the clerk, I am concerned that there could be some inconsistency. So if somebody misses writing a requirement to say that they meet that criteria, is that an incomplete application? Will we know? And the other part is we talked about having the application online. And if it's going to be an online document, I want to clarify that there's the ability to provide information based on the selection of the committee type, right? And so I just want to make sure we utilize an effective method of doing that, because I believe that's an opportunity for misinformation or, the applicant missing information. And while I don't want to sound like I'm splitting hairs, I want to be sure that the process is consistent for everyone.
Absolutely, I think that's a
So
great
that's an
point. What we
option.
can do is incorporate a PDF Adobe fillable document
Correct.
online where we have a drop-down menu for each item,
Correct.
and that would resolve that.
Yeah, and then the other item, and this may be just something we as a commission would need to follow up on if something was on the agenda for consideration to appoint someone, because I think we said we would take a recommendation from the department head.
Yes.
And so, in our meeting ago, when we had a couple of items and one was pulled, where we had an applicant who wanted to serve on a board, and we pulled it, to table it for later. I had questions. So of course, I went to the clerk and asked for the applications of everyone who applied, because I wanted to make sure that consideration was given. I'm looking for, do they live in the city? Have they been on before? Because I think we have to be careful to not make ourselves so restrictive that will lose experience of people who can come and provide a different perspective, right? Because, and I'm going to just go ahead and say it, we have Ms. Kitchens, who is very interested in serving on boards, and she does. And while I know we had a concern that we don't want the same people on every board, and we also know that there's no restriction in generally speaking, for how many boards someone can serve on unless there's a conflict or some specific nuances. I just want to make sure that we don't become so restrictive that we confine our applicants and lose the interest of those who want to participate in our city. And that's just my comment. But thank you very much for this.
You're welcome. I should note, in terms of the residency requirement, not all of our boards and committees do require residency. Some of them require that you at least have a business, but then there are others that don't have that requirement at all. So we do hope to capture a broader swath of the population that's interested in serving through that mechanism.
Anybody else have any comments or questions? I also, just a quick question, since it is something new in terms of the onboarding of board members, are we going to go back to those people currently on boards that may or may not? Well, obviously, haven't had this happen, because, again, I've had some concerns about...
Yes, I'm really glad you brought that up. I have recently undertaken an onboarding process for our public-facing employees here at the city to brief them on Sunshine. We have a couple here. Raise your hand if you've gone through it recently. And it's brief. You know, we're fortunate in that a lot of our new employees have had local government experience, so a lot of this is repetitive. But I am embarking on making that a standard process for all of our boards and committees. I'll be going through all of them. We have our new Airport Advisory Board is going to convene next week, and it's an item on the agenda, a briefing on Sunshine.
Thank you. One second.
Yeah, and to that point, the same, if this passes and once it's passed, we will start then with the administrative tracking and the timelines and of, I guess, you'll look at that. You guys will look at that when the clock starts ticking of effective dates on boards, if we had the 3-year limit to be reconsidered.
Yes.
And so all of that will be put into place.
The clerk has
Thank you.
actually just recently undergone an extensive update, and that is all up to date, and we can provide that separately. Yes.
Great, thank you. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Ms. Kitchens, public comment?
I don't have any problem with any of this, but I did note an error. Under the Public Art Committee, it was from a resolution, not by ordinance, and it notes that there's 7 members, but I believe Ms. Davis during the meeting requested that there be only one college student, so it dropped the actual membership down to 6 instead of 7, and I just noted that that was incorrect on the hierarchy. The other thing, just a point of interest, which I'm sure some of you know, state law does set some of the board requirements. Not all of them, but some of them are set by state law, which unfortunately you have no control over. But I just want to get that correction in and then mention the state law. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, with that said,
And if we can go back and just confirm, because I believe my motion was 1 college student and 1 citizen, but just make sure. But Ms. Kitchens is right about 1 college student.
yes.
We will confirm on the Public Art Committee.
Okay. You did that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. We didn't even have to vote on that. Okay. It was just discussion direction. I don't know where we voted. But Booker Park Playground Equipment discussion with Joe Verrecchio. And there he is.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Joe Verrecchio, Public Works Director. Thank you for having me tonight. Excited about the upcoming work we're going to do here if you guys approve it. What I did is put together a slide of what we're going to actually have so you guys have an actual dictation of what we're getting, what we're going to have. I want to start off by saying that the Booker Park equipment was installed somewhere between 2002 and 2005. We couldn't exactly nail it down. So it is quite old. It's at the point where it's rusting, and it's getting close to the point where it's absolutely time to replace this. Also knowing that we have the splash pad coming to Brooker Park, it'd be a nice overall look for the park. We're going to have a zip line. I think she's burning through this a little bit, but that's fine. Yeah, all new equipment. That's the bigger part, or the largest part of the equipment. If you go on to the next one. We're going to put a zip line in over here, just like we have down at the park, so the kids on this side of town can use it. and not have to go all the way across town. The zip line's amazing. It's a very used, the kids love it. I'm just very excited about that piece of equipment personally. Go ahead to the next one, please. That's another angle of the equipment. Another angle of the equipment. Right. If you notice on the top left-hand side, you see a canopy there. It's kind of neat that the created swing set it will be under a canopy, and I think that's pretty amazing too. It's going to offer shade where parents can stand there and push their kids. It's just going to be a pretty decent setup, I think. I'm very impressed with it. I hope you all are as well. Next one, please. Next one. Next one, please. Next. There's a good shot of the swing set with the canopy. That's great. Next one, please. Zip line to the top. Next. Overhead view of what we have existing now. We're going to utilize everything within that same space. So as we did with the last park, we're going to do all the work ourselves as far as the removal, taking everything out of there and setting up for them to come in. It saves us roughly about $30,000 to $35,000 off the cost for us to do this on our own. Our guys get in there, they do a great job, and get it all out of there, get it picked up, and they come right in right afterwards. I also want to add that we're starting on the splash pad. It's already in progress. We're waiting for some contractors to come out and go over it with us. If we were to get this approved today, I'm hoping between the engineering of the equipment, the pulling the permits and so on and so forth, that we will be somewhere in the end game, everything we've done around the same exact time. You've given us a complete park, and that's the goal. We are doing a lot of additional things in the park as well. We're putting all new sidewalks in there. I'm currently working with the FP&L. We're going to have that park lit up. They're going to light up the basketball courts. They're going to light up the playground areas. They're going to light up the pool areas. That's going to cut down on the homeless problems. People spend a lot of time. It's a very dark park. So a lot of things, nefarious things happen when it's dark. So we're going to light that park up like the other parks. So that's in the works. We're putting new fencing around the wildlife areas to protect the kids so nobody's running off and crawling in the woods and messing around. There's a lot of work going on. And a lot of that stuff I just mentioned as far as sidewalks, tree trimming, fences, that's all coming right now. We're already moving that. I also want to mention that it is in the budget for park improvements this year. We did plan for this park improvement. So it's exciting times to get this park brought up to date, and I think it's an amazing thing for the children to have something memorable when they grow up. I know a lot of people remember the old snake head up at Hank Bryan's Park. You grew up playing on that stuff. You know, and I still have the snake head at the shop, by the way. I couldn't throw it out. A lot of people love it. But we're going to build the memories for these kids when they grow up and they're sitting in your seats and they're sitting on my job. They're going to remember, oh, remember I played that park bench? Also want to mention the equipment that we're utilizing for the park and we're looking to get is the same as the other parks, Hank Bryan Riverfront as well. So what that's going to do is going to cut down on our maintenance cost because we're going to have multiple parts and pieces to interchange and replace if we have issues. Currently, some of this older stuff, we have to resort to going to Home Depot and buying a chain that closely resembles from something from 20 years ago. When you look at it, it just doesn't look great. And we'll be able to maintain this look until it's time to change it out in 20 years. So I'm just looking for some direction if we can move forward and start on this park. Let's make it great for our kids.
Anybody have any questions of Mr. Baracchio?
I do.
Go ahead.
I thank Joe for going out, and he and I went out and looked at the stuff. But there's a line item here about the spreading. I thought we were going to do the rubber stuff like what's downtown. What happened with that?
No, we're going to go with the regular playground mulch because it was of my opinion that the rubber mulch, people have a lot of negative things to say, even though it is great to run around on, it's great to fall on. I personally love the stuff, but I think we had a lot of negative comments. So we're going to go with a much cheaper version to put regular playground mulch, which is going to be in all our parks with the exception of the riverfront at this time until we do have to change it. And I think at some point we talk about that, and if you guys want to change it at that time to go back to regular mulch as well.
So what's the feedback? I would like to know. I mean,
A lot of it with the children were throwing it out of the playground. It was ending up in the river, possibly, likely, and all over the place outside of the playground. They were tossing it over, and it was everywhere, and I received
I
several
went in
calls
there
on
and I
it.
fell down on it just purposely. It was pretty cool. You know?
Yeah, but
It
a
was
lot
pretty cool.
a lot of people were upset about the
Yes,
fact that the
ma'am.
kids were flipping the mulch out of the,
no, okay, I didn't know
that
that.
was the issue.
Yeah, and the only other comment I actually had is I'm glad that we decided that we're going to use the same quality
Of course. Yes, sir.
material that we use downtown in Booker Park, because that park is utilized heavily, and I just want to make sure, as we went down and saw, a lot of the equipment have been, it just wasn't up to par. And, you know, we put money, good money after bad projects, so. But I thank you for being thorough. And
Of course.
Anybody else have any questions? Thank you.
Just a
Thank you,
comment.
thank you. And direction, seeking direction to move forward. It's already budgeted, so.
yes, motion to approve this purchase, and we move forward with this park improvement.
The motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Options for low barrier 12-hour shelter. Mr. Cartwright?
Joe, you need to lead us on when you leave. So a couple of days ago, I was tasked by the city manager to find some properties the city owns to help with Pastor McCoy's RAISE program, RISE program. We have several properties that we have, but only a few of them is ready to, almost close to ready to move in now. A lot of them will take coding and the different reconfiguration and renovations to bring the buildings up to speed. But the Willa Cooper building is the building that's part of the building that was housed with the Heart of Putnam has been vacant for almost over a year now. And it's a building that we had looked at before for a quick cold weather shelter. And we had made some modifications and did some renovations to it to kind of bring it up to code for just making the building, the maintenance that we need to do on it. That building right now is probably the best building that we could give or utilize for that program as we speak now. We can look at other buildings that we own, we can look at other buildings that we can purchase, but if you're looking for a opportunity for that program to move in something soon, that building is probably the best one. The fire marshal and Joe and myself and Lorenzo, we went out there and kind of made sure it met all the needs to have that building operable for that situation. It would take some sprinkling and some other low maintenance renovations, but I think that could be done within. But we can get exact quotes if y'all say that's the building we want to go with less than probably $130,000 to bring that building up to speed. We had a meeting set for the school board to see if we can get one of those other campuses. They sent me an email and declined to have that meeting because of obligations that they have with something else. And then we're looking at purchasing, or looking at a building off of Creel, the old Family Dollar. But that, again, that's a building that we would have to purchase and then renovate to bring it up to speed for here. So my recommendation, and I know we had some conversations about the school, the nursery next to it, the women's club across the street, and the park. But it's gonna be in somebody's backyard no matter where we put it. So I'm just giving you my best case with the city properties that we have right now that should be viable to move that program into that. We have the SMA right next to it already. Law enforcement, Chief Shaw and Chief Newcomb said if we fence it right, it'll keep it safe from potential hurt, harm, and danger to the community. So that was my recommendation to the city manager for right now, to the building that we own, and it's been vacant now for over a year. And it's opportunity to put somebody in there that could bring some needs to the community.
Questions of Mr. Cartwright or comments? Commissioner Campbell, Commissioner Jones, anybody have anything? Commissioner Davis?
I have something. Since, because in our last meeting, I believe it was, I definitely commented that I was a supporter of us moving forward to do something. I will say, after I left the meeting, I went and did some more homework. And I actually had a meeting with Commissioner Leota Wilkinson, County Commissioner Wilkinson, because I wanted to understand, I heard the comments, I really wanted to consider what Commissioner Jones said and some others. And I actually, as I always do, I like to go around the community to really hear from our citizens, because everybody's not here. And I just wanted to get feedback. I will tell you the consensus is everybody wants something done. The question is, what is the right thing to do? And so here's the conclusion I've come to since leaving and talking and having this conversation. I do know, especially Sarah Wilkinson, is very interested in having a solution. She's not speaking for her commission, obviously. That has to go to them. But I will say this. One of the things we talked about is we want to make sure whatever solution we come up with is, first of all, sustainable, effective, and that we are utilizing the resources that are already in the community. I mentioned the COC, and there are agencies here in Putnam County who have financial resources. Some of those agencies have gone under, some have used the money for things less effectively, and so that's the reality of it. So to that point, as I'm thinking of this, somebody's going to have to own this. The city can own it, and the county help, or the county can own it, or the city help. And I thought about, my comments in the last meeting, and it's very difficult for the tail to wag the dog, right? I mean, and I know, and I'll be honest, some of what I was speaking was emotion and the positive, attitude about it, and needing a solution in light of what the city is trying to accomplish, right? Especially in our downtown area, our city, as we are working towards revitalization and positive growth. So to that point, I definitely believe, I'm definitely reconsidering my comments, right? Because I do believe we have to have a greater support that we can all, as municipalities, support, right? Because it's a very complex issue, and I get that. But I do believe if we're going to put resources somewhere, it needs to be sustainable and effective. And one of the solutions we talked about is coordinating, making sure we even understand who have the resources here. When I was at the COC, and that's the board meeting for the strategic session, one of the things I said to them is, I know you're an effective organization, but all I hear the effectiveness is in Gainesville and Alachua County. Like, we don't even feel we're part of it. I come to the meetings, but what do you do and what should we have in Putnam County? And other counties chimed in as well. I will say that I got a request from the COC to consider, they are considering putting an office here in Palatka. I think that's a great move. I think that would be an opportunity for them to coordinate here in Putnam County as well. And they have some asks, which I submitted to the city manager, of course. They are looking for a building where they could have an office, perhaps for in-kind or to lease or something to that point. I do believe setting a foundation of sustainable support countywide is our first order of business. So that's my comment, if that makes sense.
Anybody else have any comments? I agree with all that, but I also think that, yes, it has to be countywide, but our focus is obviously Palatka. So we've got to figure out, as the city commission, what that means for us. And what these timelines look like. We're going to go into the summer. It's going to be hot. There's not a hot weather shelter right now. There's not a cold weather shelter. There's not any type of shelter right now within the city, other than churches opening their doors. So I think it's important to do it the right way, and as you said, have something that's sustainable, but time is not always on our side. We've got to come up with some solutions, and we've been batting it around. I think hopefully the RISE group, that is going to help as well. Go ahead, Commissioner Campbell.
I agree with the statements, and I've also made the request earlier on. We know that it's in the city of Palatka, or will be, but what skin does the county have in the game? And I know Ms. Wilkinson, Chairman Wilkinson hasn't shied away from the issue, but at what point are they going to make a decision as a whole? And I feel that the weight is heavy on us, and I don't think anyone that sits on this dais is against it. However, it's going to take resources from all levels, and I think that needs to be something that we don't put second in on the agenda, on the list of things as we move forward for consideration. That again, I still would like to know what the county is willing to commit to making sure that this shelter is successful.
Go ahead, Commissioner
Mayor,
Davis.
so to that point, Ms. Cardy, I know one of the things you were going to do was talk to the county.
Yes, I have
What is the
initiated.
status? Okay.
I've initiated that,
Okay.
and I'm waiting for a response.
Okay.
That was earlier this week.
Okay, okay. So one of the things also I would like to make sure is in the staff report and in the documentation we have in our packet, there are some inconsistencies that we clarified, and Ms. Reyes came up and gave us clear definitions so we could be consistent. It's not low, it's low barrier, it's not low risk.
Yes.
So I want to be clear, and I do see the words used oftentimes interchangeably, and so if those could be corrected. So to those here tonight, when we heard the RISE presentation, there's low barrier, and as Ms. Reyes explained it so beautifully and clearly, is that we want low barrier. We don't want to deny people who may be eligible for that, coming to a shelter. It's different from low-risk individuals. So, of course, there are some guidelines, but that is not where the focus is for this. So I just want to make sure we clarify that and get that correct in the documentation for the minutes.
Thank you. Anybody else? I do have some folks who want to make public comment. Yvette? Oh, yeah, is there anything?
And finally, we had the presentation from Mr. Cutright about the bus option, and I don't want to discount that, but maybe looking at that as an option for people to sleep. One of the things I noticed when I worked at the cold weather shelter is that those who stayed, we didn't have any problems for those who came. But I can tell you the next morning after they had a good night's sleep, they were a little different people. And that makes a difference, and which is one of the benefits of this bus and a potential for community partnership that would be not a financial burden on the city. So I do think there are some alternatives, some viable alternatives that are less that cause less of a financial burden on the city and potentially could be partnerships, and I'm just putting it out here, with churches who can use their parking lot or whatever. Because what I'm finding is everybody wants a solution. Nobody really wants to own it or can own it continuously. So that's an option as well. I do want to say, we do have
It
some.
definitely is a community-wide involvement and investment. We can't do it alone, and the county can't either. We all have to work on this together, and we have many churches in the city, so hopefully they'll come together to help in some fashion. Ms. Reyes?
Thank you. Yvette Reyes, Boswick. Thanks for correcting that, because I went through all these documents, and I'm like, really? Anyway, I have a couple of things, and I know I have 3 minutes, so I'm going to try to be quick. This options for low barrier 12-hour shelter staff report. It references the site visit and the roof repairs scheduled to commence June 23rd, 2025, with an estimate of $20,000. This is referring to last year. So is this done, or is it supposed to be 2026?
Those were done.
Okay, so then that verbiage needs to be changed. And then the next paragraph, it refers to 130,000 with 90,000 allocated to sprinkler system and 30 for fire alarms. That's only 120. Where's the other 10,000 gonna go to? Just comments. Then the Palaca Fire Department letters, they are not dated. When was this written up?
That was, are they here? Go ahead. I think it's July 2025.
That email was sent 8/14/25.
Right.
Okay, so do we need an updated version of this if we're gonna go with the Cooper building? Just asking. And then regarding the APA money, sorry, you can.
1 minute, Chad.
One moment. Go ahead.
Regarding the ARPA money, can I do this now?
You can keep going, yes, you
Okay.
can finish up.
So regarding the ARPA money, according to what I was given, we had originally $80,000, of which $55,000 have been encumbered. And then we have $25,000 remaining. I only have a breakdown for $50,000. The $10,000 that I discussed with the New Creation Christian Center homeless shelter, which doesn't exist, you said was reallocated, I don't know to where. But then there's 5,000 that are not allocated. Then you added in 2025, 99,770, and it's rounded up, which gave you a total of 179,770 for homelessness. You deduct the 55,000, so technically you have 124,770 for homelessness. But we keep referring to the 99,700. Where is like the other?
The difference.
It's just a comment. I don't
Okay.
need an answer.
We do.
Sorry. Okay, then I have another question. On the dashboard, I guess I don't understand the expenses versus the revenue under ARPA. So, to me, expenses are, sorry, I just have one more thing.
Well, just, yeah, make it quick.
Expenses are what you spend, revenue is what comes in. So under ARPA fund, you have the budget at 1.5 for 2025, then you have 2026 at 1.3, and then you have an expenditure of 11,362 and a revenue of 11,362. That doesn't make sense to me. And I think that was the last.
Yeah, and your 3 minutes are up.
Hold on. This is important.
Yeah, and then, sorry, one more. Page 56 and page 64, the numbers don't match.
Thank you. Ms. Kitchens?
Say those pages
Wait,
again.
wait.
Page 56 and page 64, the numbers don't match.
Come on up, Ms. Kitchens.
The League of Kitchens, Palatka, Florida. Several things. At the last discussion, you all decided that the Cooper building was not the proper location for the shelter under any means because of its location with with a park across the street, daycare center next door, and businesses all around it. Now, I think the businesses with the storage units had expressed some concerns. And I note on the staff report that Mr. Cutright supposedly did, I doesn't see who did it, the Willard E. Cooper building may be a candidate for limited use duration. But even for a 12-hour shelter, yada, 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 full code upgrades, etc. But on the second page it says, I quote, "The Price Martin Community Center is the strongest candidate, as it already meets requirements for temporary cold weather sheltering and would likely be the most straightforward option once reopened." So when Mr. Cutright gets up here and promotes the Cooper building, the staff report says the Price Martin is the strongest candidate. I believe the Price Martin building is the strongest candidate unless you all wanted to use Port Consolidated. It's move-in ready. The zoning is correct. There's plenty of room. And of course, you could have bought the Liberty Church next door for $175,000. It would have been perfect. But Port Consolidated is ready. It's got bathrooms, it's got plumbing, it's got everything you can think of, and it's ready to move in right now. That's what FDOT told you, and that's what you just got the updated report. However, back to the point at hand, the staff report tells you all Price Martin is the best candidate. So why are we discussing Cooper Center? It is in a residential neighborhood. I want the homeless to have a place to go whenever the homeless want a place to go. I don't want them to suffer. I worry about it, but it does not to be in a residential neighborhood or around children's playgrounds. We all know some of the homeless have problems. They're pedophiles, they're schizophrenics. I'm sorry for them, but they don't need to be where there's children playing. They don't need to be in residential neighborhoods where children are walking and playing. It needs to be in a commercial area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Was-
1 minute, and then, yes, and then we can respond. 1 minute. Nobody else for public comment? No, Ms. Canty's coming up too. Ms. Canty?
Didn't you say?
Did you say you want to come up? Come on up, and then we'll close public comment.
Good afternoon. I was
Could you give your
Deborah
name?
Canty,
Okay, thank you.
from 2015 Maplewood Drive, Palaca. I would like to just say, I'm very familiar with a lot of things that is going on with the homeless. I am a local pastor, see things all the time. I am a volunteer at the Palaca Christian Service Center with Pastor Sheila McCoy. And this has been an ongoing problem for years. I know it's not something our city wants, but it's here. And we cannot deny it or turn the other way and act as if it doesn't exist. So the thing is, we need to come up with a solution. And so I'm very familiar because I was a part of the initial TOSS program due to working with a family that was the Sweat family. When I got involved with, it wasn't the TOSS program, I was actually on the committee that organized that for the overnight stay. The people, excuse me, although they were allowing them to sleep on the breezeway, but I noticed things. I was just a citizen walking each and every day when I saw some of the people in the most deplorable condition. Number one, it was 90 and 95 degrees, and you had people that did not have water, they did not have showers. And I took it very much upon myself and actually worked with several of the people, got them into stable homing, working with various complexes around here. And they are doing fine. They just needed a hand up. Everybody is not in the condition where they want to be homeless. And so therefore, I am asking the city to help and to even work with the Christian Service Center. I know there's many organizations, but I want to say with Miss McCoy, Pastor McCoy, whatever, she goes by, you will not find a person who is more compassionate about seeing something. And we talk pretty much every day about what we can do. And not only, maybe a lot of people don't know, but there are things we do out of our pockets. And I do as a church, and she does as a church, and it's a weight, but we do the best we can behind the doors that nobody else sees. And so we have the most compassion for these people. I'm not saying others don't, but we need help. And I am also, I thank God for Miss Yvette and others who have been doing, but I have already been in this game a long time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else here for public comment? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Responses?
Can I respond?
Go ahead. Yes.
Well, I just want to respond to Ms. Kitchens. Yes, the Price Martin Center has been hardening, and that plan is going to be the best thing for the city going forward for the hurricane shelter and everything. But we have different uses for the Price Point. The Willa Cooper building is standing by itself and has been abandoned or been vacant for over a year, and that would give that program its own spot that they can do and flourish without any other events, situations, or anything interrupting what they got going on. And that's the reason why I made my personal opinion, made Willa Cooper the primary. Price Martin Center is the second option. It's probably the best option besides the size of it and where it's located at. But with the different use of the Price Martin, I thought the Willa Cooper building would be the best. But she is right. My documentation said Price Martin Center.
I am
Go
going,
ahead, Commissioner.
I'm going to go with the will of the commission, but I stand firm that I think that location is not the proper location. And I'm thinking 12 hours, depending on the time. There's a lot of youth. Again, within that community that walk to and from bus stops and to school. So overall, the safety of that corridor is my primary concern. So I'm going to stand firm on that.
Anybody else have any comments? Go ahead, Commissioner Barr.
Yes, we've been around the wagon many times. It's been a conversation for the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, the state even thought so much of the program to try and help the homeless to put monies toward it. And so they changed at the last minute where they didn't fund it, but it did go all the way to the governor as it relates to the homelessness. We had a number of different things, laws and everything else, trying to figure out what is legally, what can you legally do if a person is in front of a location that nobody wants them to be in. You cannot force a homeless person from a location, regardless of wherever it's at, if you don't have a better place for them to go. That's what the legislation put in place. So it's incumbent upon us from a city level, county level, state level, whatever. We got business owners complaining. We got local residents complaining. With all this complaining, the problem is still not being solved. People are at 9th and Reed. They force the people, and they sit there all the time, and you can see where there used to be grass in the area where the bus stop is with the bench there. It used to be grass there. The people are finding places to stay, and it's just eroding the areas in those particular areas. You got Fred Green Park. They're laying all on the tables. You got the riverfront down here. They are everywhere. So if you don't deal with the problem, it's going to deal with you. We have to find a solution. And it's not that costly. It's very simple to help at least have a better place for these individuals to go. And if we don't do nothing, you're going to continue to have the same things. Needles down here on the riverfront, you're going to have people continuously having problems because the people don't have nowhere to go. There's no wraparound services that people can address their issues and different things of that nature. So we keep kicking the can down the road. The city has to lead the charge. Everything, I mean, I got a number of solutions that I presented a number of times, but, we just don't want to entertain it.
Thank you. I also, Ms. Reyes, at the last time she was here, did inform us and gave us the information that SMA's portion of the Willard Cooper building that they use is really a community center for folks that are in homes. So they're there already, hanging out all day, right in that same building. Just to point that out, because that was pointed out to us last time. You really can't.
Absolutely. And they're right across from the chamber, people laying all along that.
Yeah, but I'm talking about SMA actually running a drop-in center for folks to hang out in.
They're
during
there
the day.
already, like you said.
So they're already at the Cooper building on
Absolutely.
that portion of it. Just saying that, just so it's out there.
Is there a motion that you making?
No, I'm not making a motion. I just made a comment. We've been talking about this same thing for 3 or 4 years now, and so what we're gonna keep doing, keep talking about it, and the business owners, residents, quality of life going to continue to go down. And again, too, from a legal standpoint, you cannot force an individual who's homeless away from, because if they're there resting and you go and try and force those individuals from that location, it's laws in place that you can't mess with those people unless you have a better place for them to go. And that's just the point of it.
So I think that what we have here is, staff is looking for direction. And that's really what we're looking for here.
Yes, ma'am. That's why I asked, was there a motion on the floor? Or what are we going to do?
No, there is no motion on the floor.
You have opportunity.
I will say I'm in favor of us looking into the bus option.
Is that a motion? Do we have a second?
I'm not familiar with the bus method, so that's the only reason why I'm not.
That was something Mr. Cartwright brought to us last time. Do you want to briefly explain that?
So in one of the conferences I went to, they have a 20-bed bus that has a driver and a security guard that has, and you can house up to 20 homeless or needed people for the night, but you can move it from different locations and different parking lots to keep it from being a brick and mortar spot. It takes about $175,000 to configure the bus into its needs, but it's an option that they're doing in a couple of other places. I can bring more of that back to the table to y'all, let y'all get more information about it. I presented to y'all in a meeting several months ago, so I think a refresher might help you if that's what y'all want.
So let me rephrase. What I'm saying is perhaps we can investigate that option, but I want to consider that option in understanding how we can have buy-in from community organizations, because sleeping is one thing, showering is great, but they need to eat. You know, I'm just saying there are some options, and I know there are some cities doing this and doing it successfully. And so I was just giving direction that perhaps we can investigate that further to come back with a solid plan of how it possibly could be implemented in Palatka. And I recognize we're kicking the can down the road, but I'm still standing by. We can investigate, but I still believe we have to have some buy-in from the county. I will just be clear. We cannot own this solution solely because and here's the reality. Everybody knows the reality, right? People will bring people here, and I don't want to, say that it's not an excuse, but that's the reality of it, which means we don't have unlimited resources. And so what we're trying to solve for, I just want to make sure our solution is viable, that we don't create a larger problem. So that's where I'm going with it.
Yeah.
And realistically,
easy to
yeah,
do. That's
and it's
not
not easy, and we've discussed that. And even when we did the cold weather shelter, that's why we didn't announce until the day of, because we didn't want other surrounding areas to bring people in. That is a real issue.
And may I give us another reality check? And I know those who have experience can vouch. We can have a solution, but at the end of the day, to use the resource we have, whether it's a shelter, whether it's a shower, whether it's food, they have to want to accept it, which means if they don't, there's no forcing it. So it's not going to fully resolve. It's just going to provide a solution for those who are interested in using the service.
Agreed, and also the wraparound services are key to be tied to anything we do, and without those, it's not going to be a success. It's going to go on and on. It's one thing to shelter people and feed them and wash them, but if they don't get the services they need to move on to a better place in their life, then it's all for naught.
Can I just make one comment?
Come up quickly, please, just because of the topic. That's okay.
It was part of my presentation, but, so it refers to a 12-hour shelter. The initiative is a 24-hour process. So the daytime hours are going to be to provide the wraparound services, and then from 7 to 7 is the shelter. And to Ms. Davis's point, we can only help those that want the help. If I was running it, there would be a criteria where it would have to be Palatka people, Putnam County people only.
Right.
Because yes, we have Alachua bringing in homeless and dropping them off here every day. So if I was running it, yes, it's part of what I told Ms. Sheila, because I have my ideas, I have my concerns. I support the initiative, and I agree it shouldn't only fall on the city, but the city would have the central location for the building. And I guess that's why everybody's pointing to the city, but it is a county issue. It is not just a city issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Can I say something?
Go ahead. What, did you have something? I'm sorry.
Waiting for your direction, Mayor.
Well, we just, Commissioner Davis did make a motion, and we didn't second it, so if anybody
Okay.
else wants, go ahead.
So, for the sake of just information purposes, we did the cold weather shelters when it was freezing cold. And as we speak about what's needed, and then the population of people that take advantage of it, we spent a lot of time, resources to open a shelter at the Jinxon Middle School, gymnasium, community center. And, you know, I went out there one night, it was 5 people in there. Sometimes I got a number of 10 one night. Freezing cold. We had to even pick up individuals to bring them out there. So we went searching for people that was unhoused. And I'm just not sure, is that investment at this time from just the city, because the county is not, they made a stand, and I respect that. We didn't get any money from Tallahassee for homelessness. And you already said there's daytime operations there to get the people, in an effort to keep people from downtown and other areas throughout town. I think that until we get all the players in one room and come up with a comprehensive plan, when that group came from Gainesville and they said they got $250,000 for our area, they did not say that they were going to give us any money to get that building ready. They could have built a metal building somewhere and put it somewhere in our county. None of those options came up with the people that had the money. So I don't think, and I'm sensitive about it, so don't think I'm being insensitive. However, you have to be smart about it. And I think that what everybody said up here makes sense, so I'm not disagreeing, but I am disagreeing with we should go on and put this kind of money into the Willard Cooper building that's already being used by SMA at this time without having a comprehensive plan. Mr. Cutright did his due diligence. He's already, this is not new information that's been brought back, but somebody keep bringing it back up here and really just making us look bad because we keep revisiting the same thing over and over again after we're not getting any new information. Nothing have changed. So I suggest that we do continue with the cold weather shelter when it's needed. We show that we care and we show the compassion. We're putting the resources out. And if it's a certain degrees in the summertime when it's really hot, put a warm weather shelter. So a cooling station or something. But again, I don't think we should take on the full responsibility, being the city of Palatka, to run a 24-hour shelter. I'm just saying. That's my thing. Yeah, the motion is to keep a cold weather shelter and hot weather shelter. That's the motion I'm putting on the floor, and we could utilize the area that we had before until the school board decide that they want to help us with utilizing these schools that probably possibly closing or already have closed, and they have the capacity to assist the community.
So, to back up a bit, Commissioner Davis made a motion, and she did refine the motion to basically explain.
No, that motion died.
Well, yes.
For lack of a
so-
second.
I know it died for lack of a second, but you did repeat it with.
She said she was going to explain, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But, you added some information, and I didn't know if you were making, but anyway, go ahead. So your motion is to continue when needed, when the temperature warrants, with the cold
Yes.
weather and cooling center.
We need to move this
Not
meeting.
to discontinue what he stated about still trying to move forward with something that is, and that actually was a request that came out of the meeting when we had the individuals from Gainesville was to come, because we did say, and I know specifically I stated that when you're ready to have a real conversation, make sure that you have the right people at the table who's going to make the right decisions for the city of Palatka and Putnam County. Because one thing that we have done, we let people come in here and tell us what we're going to do instead of us telling them what they're going to do to support what we have to take care of here in the city of Palaca. So I would like, Commissioner Jones, if that could be friendly in your motion as well, so it doesn't appear as if we're sitting idle and trying to kick this, because there is some work that can be done in betwixt and between, because there were workshops that were supposed to be implemented or put into place that I believe 2 or 3 times that it was canceled. And so here's an opportunity for us to bring those who want to have skin in the game back to the same arena so that we can make sure that we move forward with a unified effort. So Commissioner Jones, if you would take that in consideration with your motion.
In addition to bringing my motion, in addition to bringing the,
Can we start, can we restate the motion, please?
that's what I was trying not to have to do. So, can say that again? You say continue with the motion, or you want me to start over again?
What I have is a motion to keep the cold weather shelter and a cooling station, and then,
As needed.
As needed at the Robert H. Jenkins Community Center, being available. That's also with the condition of, we need help manning it, staffing that. So, and I think maybe I need to scratch that motion, because first, I'm gonna tell you why.
Right.
Here's why I'm bringing it back. Because our staff is still being the people that manage that operation. So, until we get a comprehensive plan, again, so that's gonna be county, city, school district, because we do have some children that are unhoused. So we need all players involved. So until we get a comprehensive plan, I think we will continue the service of a cold weather shelter in addition to a hot weather shelter at that location. Okay?
Second.
Wait a minute, I thought you were going to add, well, you don't have to add, but there was a suggestion by Commissioner Campbell about the plan. You want the plan?
You guys already know, we already know that. If you want to do some addition too, because it may not never happen, then what?
Before I officially second, let me make sure what I heard. I heard, because the first motion was not seconded, what I heard is a change of, let's bring the players together to come up with a comprehensive plan, county, city, school board, and any other needed
CLC.
organizations to get a comprehensive plan is what I heard, and that's what I'm looking to second.
And, and I was scratch that word players to stakeholders.
To
okay?
stakeholders. Thank you. I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you.
In addition to that recommendation, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
There you go.
I'll make a motion that we facilitate this as soon as possible, so that we can continue this conversation in hopes of facilitating progress moving forward.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. City of Palaca, policy for proper procedure for hiring new employees.
Good evening, once again. Before you, and this policy is just so that you had the opportunity to review and still will have an opportunity to make any corrections or changes, but it's when looking through, going through the handbook, the policy for hiring new employees was basically still the old policy for back, I don't even know when the HR department was operating through Career Source. They were going down, applying for applications, however, that process was taking place prior to many years, so there was nothing structured as to hiring new employees. So all of that, if you'll see, that's been struck through was the original procedure, with just the exception of a few pieces of the language being left in, and then a new process outlining that's actually stating and showing, equivalency of education and years of experience and what it equates to. So we can be easy to determine, You know, if a job is asking for a master's and they got 20 years worth of experience, this goes into play. So nothing really outlined any of that information. So this is for your consideration to review. And if there's any changes, I'll be more than happy to make them. And then we can bring this back for adoption at another meeting.
Thank you. City of Palaca job vacancies policy, excuse me.
And good afternoon again. For our job vacancy policy, as you can see, it's just updated because the intent of the language that was in it is not to take it out, but to clarify it, to make it more so it can kind of break it out. However, there was an equal employment opportunity clause that needed to be added into it, as well as our veterans preference added into our job vacancy policies. Filling job vacancies was only the information in that one little section that struck through is actually broken down into entry levels and non-entry levels. Okay, so it's the same information, it's just broken down to make it more clear in that. There was the addition on number 1 under A for kind of changed, and that was at the recommendation of information provided by the city manager for internal candidates going through interview process, which wasn't originally in there. So if they were qualified, they still had to go through an interview process at the recommendation of a supervisor. So that information is new, as well as under section B, it shall be filled by the discretion of a hiring manager, other than just being automatically promoted into that position if they were qualified. Also in item 1, internal candidates will be given the opportunity to apply for a promotion or higher level position, so it wasn't at the hiring manager will determine whether they are qualified. That was additional information that was added in, not just that if you had a qualified candidate working at a lower level, they were automatically considered for the promotion. This puts them in a place of they have to apply for that position. Also, the information under number 2 was information that was provided as well for directions from the city manager all the way down through that the 2 paragraphs plus the 5 little outlines, employment eligibility, all of those things were also added. Then the strike-through information is just the information that I clarified in the first 2 for none and all of that. So that's strike-through taken out. The probationary period was already in our policy. Recruitment and selection documentation, we always wanted that in there to maintain, to know how people were interviewed. The other information that was added is the interim, the acting and interim role assignments. When we have people in those positions that are operating in them, there was nothing to really outline that. So that was added into there that I put in so that we could just come up with something to say, you know, you got somebody working in a position acting, and it just actually gives a definition of what acting and interim is. So you can determine whether an individual is doing those roles. And the only other thing from my standpoint that was put in there, the interim assignments must be approved by, it was department heads or HR, and is now the department head or the city manager. That's for your review as well, not up for adoption tonight or to be considered, but if there's any recommendations tonight, I would be more than happy to note those and make those changes accordingly.
You just mentioned acting. That last part I didn't get. Which one? You say acting or interim will be determined by the city manager. Which one was that?
No.
I mean, you say the mayor or the city manager.
Your acting or interim city assignments must be approved by the department head and the city manager.
What about the commission?
No.
Because, but hold it. Oh, just for the executive. What about no? Yeah,
No.
but what if it is the city manager? I'm
Well, that's-
just saying it
Oh, you're
doesn't.
saying
I'm
for
saying
this
it's not
example
in
of the city
here because
manager.
we ran across that
Yeah.
prior.
Okay.
Like, so it need to be
He's talking strictly about the city manager.
if we're actually.
I hear you, and I'm not saying we don't need
Creating,
it,
it need to
but
be
my
in.
recommendation is we need to come up with a city manager policy. because it's oftentimes confusing when you try to marry the requirements for someone, a staff member versus someone who reports directly to the commission.
Right.
So there's an opportunity for that, and I do have some suggestions. Yeah, but that's what we need. We need a city manager policy.
Yeah, there's, yeah. And going back to section 2(1), it says structured interview. Now, what do you consider that to be? A panel interview, department head interview,
So you're back
HR
to the
interview?
You're talking proper procedure for hiring new employees?
Yep.
So you're back to the first policy?
Yeah,
Okay.
and you went over, you didn't stop for a pause, so.
Okay.
So it's because, structured, what did that look like? And it need to be identified so that we don't give John Doe a panel interview
Right.
and then come back and Susie Q get a interview with department head, and both of them structured, but does it look like?
So
They need-
whatever interview process is being put in place for any particular job, every candidate applying for that job will operate under that interview process. So it doesn't go for one, it doesn't go, to one person get this type and the other when we're talking a particular job.
Exactly, but it need to be, a policy really need to be cut and dry, so we'll know, just like the word, using the word shall and must, they mean something. And so in this one, structured, it could be interpreted whatever you decide to structure. Whatever you say, well, we're gonna do a panel interview for this person. We don't know what was the type of interview for the person preceding or the person gonna be after. But if you spell it out that for all jobs, with the exception of city manager, will be panel interview or whatever. I would like to know, that's just information. When we changing the policy, we change it for the better and easier operation. So if it's spelled out in here, it would be good for everybody to interpret the same way. That's all I'm saying, since we're doing restructuring.
Commissioner Davis?
Yeah, I understand what Commissioner Jones is saying. I just want to be careful that a policy does not try to morph into a process document. Because if we add that level of detail in a policy document, it really needs to determine based on the kind of job, the scope of job, because a director may have a panel discussion, but I'm not sure that a hourly staff member, depending on the skill set and the job, may require it. So it may have to be a process per department, I don't know, but I just want to be careful with policy documents. You're setting policy, not necessarily the individual steps specific to carrying it out. I'm
Right,
not
that's policy,
explaining
not the
well.
procedure, and the
Policy
procedure.
versus procedure, that's the only concern I have.
Well, the concern I have is it's been more of practice versus policy or procedure. So if we put it in, you practice it, and it's going to be your policy that you can follow it if it's already spelled out. So there's no room for error. There's not, it's just a suggestion you asked for. So I'm saying it so there won't be any room for error, and we be consistent on how we do it. It's just simple. So,
In the words of my dad, it's better to have it and not need it than to
and
need
needed
it
and not,
have it.
exactly. I agree with
Well,
Not
it
always.
depends, because, I'm sorry. Let me stop. I was just gonna say it depends, because you can make yourself so restrictive that you become process intensive for someone whose job scope doesn't really require that level of interviewing. And so then you position yourself to not have people who want to apply because the process is so structured. That's my only concern. Every job interview or process, every job interview and process is not the same scope or level, is my experience. I just want to be, that's the only thing I want to be careful about. If we need someone to, and I don't want to minimize anyone's job, but a director a finance director does not need the same level of interview and skill set and proof that an hourly laborer may need. That's what I'm trying to say. Because if you make it standard to that degree, I'm concerned that that will be interpreted. And the other thing we have to remember with the policy, Ms. Jones may not be here one day, Commissioner Jones, anybody needs to be able to pick up that policy document and be able to use it.
And keep going with this, it has to go on.
Yeah, practically.
Yes.
That's the point I'm making. You making my point. Exactly what you just said. Because if it's in there, and
Okay, one at a time, please. Point of order.
yeah, it's just because I'm gonna tell you that's how we've been operating. So it's okay.
Commissioner Borum.
Well,
Commissioner Borum.
I like both of their points, but I do agree with Commissioner Davis as it relates to the policy, because generally policies are more general in nature, and you got procedures that help point you exactly what you need to do step by step. And so I would like to hear from our city attorney as it relates to that, moving forward with, because we don't want to get ourselves boxed, in a pigeonhole as it relates to policy versus procedure.
Sure. I think there is definitely some merit in terms of it depends on the job. You do want to be careful of boxing yourself in, but I think you can draft it in such a way that allows for some leniency. And so we can take it back and work it over in a way that I think addresses some of your concerns.
Thank you.
Mike, any more recommendations? Because I will go in and do research
Yeah.
on to the structure. I will and bring that back to that piece. Are there any more at this time that I need to put in there, or I'll wait for some feedback from you
And let me
all?
be clear, I agree with Commissioner Jones. I just don't think it's a policy. I think it's more of a procedure. But if you can make it lenient enough, I agree. Thank you.
Because the word just says structured, and I think what he's saying is structured. Okay.
Yeah, no, we
He
understand.
just don't want to miss, because it's been so inconsistent over the years, and I agree with him on that,
Yeah.
So
No,
why
we
don't
all
you put something like
understand.
IE and examples of the interview?
Right.
How about that?
Okay,
Will do.
thank you.
Thank you.
Regular business, nobody wants to take a recess, so we'll move right on. Reassignment of the Putnam County CRA representative. So, Commissioner Pelletier did resign.
He did
He gave
resign.
his- yeah. So, and it is the responsibility of this commission to appoint somebody to that seat, correct, Ms. West?
That's correct, according to the resolution.
Go ahead.
I do have a question about the resolution.
Yes.
So I noticed that the resolution says, the latest revision says that the county commissioner appointed to this board, I believe it references Group 2, or what do they call it?
District 2.
District 2. And it says, and that member should be responsible for the area that encompasses the Central Business District.
Yeah.
So what I confirmed today when I saw this is that Commissioner Wilkinson is the district.
I'll provide some clarification.
Okay.
I believe a lot has changed since that resolution was first
That's where I'm
adopted. There is a discrepancy. I think if you are to look at the underlying intent, it was spelled out that it is the person whose district encompasses the central business district is supposed to, and that, obviously that makes sense given that it's a CRA appointment. So I do believe
Correct.
that is the intent.
And I still think we need to look into it further because, and I'm looking for someone to confirm this. Both Commissioner Wilkinson and Commissioner Alexander have areas that encompass, let me ask the question. Do their districts both encompass parts of the central business district? If so, again, I think then it's not clear because encompass means it could be part or all. And if they both fit that criteria, then what determines who serves? That's my question.
I don't think Commissioner Alexander because from my research, he's going out towards the 17.
Agreed, further out, not the
Right.
central business
Right.
district. So again. And that's why I said we have to confirm if there's a conflict. Commissioner Wilkinson is District 2, which encompasses part, is my understanding. We just need to confirm that our resolution is
And she
clear.
does, and I had a conversation with Commissioner Wilkinson about this, and she felt that actually Commissioner Alexandra occupied a larger portion of what is our CRA district, which includes the 3 TIF districts, not just downtown. So that was directly from Leota, but if you want to research, that's fine, but she did state that to me, that she felt Commissioner Alexander really had the bulk of that district. So if we want to research it, that's fine.
I'm not going to research it. I'm asking us to confirm that
Well, I'm not saying we're
our,
going to research it, yes.
I thought you meant me.
No, I wasn't
I just
talking
want
to
to
you
make
directly.
sure
I was
that
making a
we are
statement.
clear in our resolution so that we can move forward according to what the resolution's intent is.
So I think the intent is clear. I think there's some discrepancy between District 2 and what the intent is. So what I can do is this. I can research the geographical jurisdictions of District 2 and District 3, which is Commissioner Alexander's, to see which district encompasses the majority of the central business, which is the underlying intent and makes sense with the CRA appointment. That can be brought back to you at our first city commission meeting in May, which will precede the first CRA meeting where that appointment would be needed.
Thank you.
So I suggest tabling this particular agenda item until such time.
Okay, do we have a motion to table?
So did we appoint Commissioner Palacier? We didn't do that.
You did not. The resolution was not followed. The county took it upon themselves to make that appointment, and that was not
So
following
we're trying to
our
adhere to the
procedure.
resolution, 1 minute.
So we just, so that we have, that's what I'm talking about, policies versus practices. But here, we have in our audience 2 former commissioners, a mayor, and former city attorney and city manager that we could ask them out there now.
We have
and they
somebody
probably
here with
could-
public comment,
They
too.
probably could, take care of that right now.
I don't, we just need to find out.
It's a question, can we ask? I mean,
Well, first of all, we have somebody for public comment, and secondly, I don't know, again, if we really need to do that. You can certainly ask them on the side, but I don't know that we need to have them individually come up.
we could ask at least the city.
Ms. Kitchens has already submitted a public request card, so she is coming up now.
Some background information first. The resolution is true. It said that the county, the county commissioner covering the majority of the downtown business district. The commissioner covering that, I forgot who it was, did not want that position, so the county commission, at their discretion, appointed another commissioner. That has been the way they do. It is law that the county appoints their commissioner to be on the district. Now, as far as Mr. Alexander goes, he's a wonderful young man. He's a friend of mine. He's very brilliant. However, there's a problem. Mr. Jones will remember that when Big Homie had a function at Hank Bryan Park, because the owner of Big Homie is Mr. Jones' brother-in-law, Mr. Jones had to recuse himself from voting on the event. Josh Alexander is a business partner for 3 of the big downtown developers, Charlie Douglas, Jeffrey Nations,
His brother
and Brett
is.
Sloan.
His brother is.
Therefore, he has to recuse himself on any voting concerning the development in downtown Palatka. That means he would not be effective on the CRA board, so you all need to think about that. So that's and yeah, you can frown, but he's...
I'm not frowning, that's
his
just my
brother.
natural face.
Okay, well, sorry. His actual brother
It's his brother.
is partners to all those businesses, so that would preclude him from being able to vote. And it might also extend in the historic districts on either side. So if it's a case of Wilkinson or Joshua, I think you're going to have to, the county would have to pick Wilkinson, because I don't think you can, Joshua wouldn't be able to vote. And again, fine young man, he's a friend of mine. I'm sorry that's the way it is, but that's the way it is.
Ms. West?
Sure.
So for any agenda item where there is a direct conflict, and Commissioner Jones can speak to this, he's had to recuse himself exactly once. If there is a matter that comes before the CRA board where there is a conflict, that commissioner obviously would have to recuse themselves from voting on that agenda item.
So since you guys use my name in Mike's example, I think that it wouldn't matter whether it's Mr. Alexander or Ms. Wilkinson. I think they both are people of integrity, and they would do the proper thing if they were charged with sitting up here on the CRA board. That's my take on it. So the mayor gave direction. She want the attorney to look into this further. And that's what, I guess we go that route.
And she's bringing it to the next meeting, so there we go.
Even though we have subject matter experts back there that have been through this a few times that we could have. Thank you.
Thank you.
And how did Ms.
She couldn't tell you not to ask them. That's
Huh?
your time.
Yeah, well, yeah, I say let's ask the former, I don't want to do that because it's, no. I won't do it. You can, well, Mr. Holmes, you mind come up here and Mr. Holmes, Mr. Hill, Mr. Norwood, all could probably about it. The question is, in the past, how did we proceed with putting county commissioner member on the CRA board? How did we do in the past to do that?
So as I recall, your CRA plan and charter specifies your composition, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've probably looked at that.
It's right there.
We can't see that, but yes.
So in the past, they've not strictly held to appointing the commissioner that represented a particular district. Do you agree? I can remember Commissioner Turner serving for a while, and then he stepped off and someone took his place. Rawls. The former mayor that I know reminded me that the city county manager also served on the CRA for a while as the county's representative when I guess nobody wanted to serve. So they haven't strictly held to that, I will tell you that much. But and in the past, I think that we pretty much left it to the commission, the county commission to decide who served. And I do want to correct one thing.
Yes.
Not that it's necessarily record, but Mr. Alexander isn't a business partner of Mr. Sloan.
Correct.
I don't know whether he's a business partner of the others. I'm not speaking to that because I don't know it, and I wouldn't put that on the record, but I know he's not a business partner of Mr. Sloan.
Okay, thank you, Ms. West.
Yes, so what I have been trying to do, and it's not always fun or popular, is just because that is the way we have done it in the past, if it's not following the written resolutions and ordinances and charters of this city, I am trying to rectify it. It has not been easy or fun to do that, but that is what I'm trying to accomplish here. And we have it in writing right here. This is the resolution. It is my legal advice that you follow it.
I agree. Go, Ms.
I appreciate the history lessons, but we are going to follow ordinances, resolutions, and plans, whatever's in writing, and if there's a need to change it, please follow the process to do so officially. In the meantime, we need to follow what is written. Thank you.
I concur. We need to follow what exists, and that's what we're tasked to do, and so let's stick to it.
I'm going to say this for the simple fact. Each one of us that sits here has a different way of addressing a matter. And if a matter is not addressed in a way that may be, because I, throughout this dialogue, believe Commissioner Jones was just wanting to know how things in the past, not saying that he is going against what's been presented, but I do think sometimes the history of how things have, and I'm very much a proponent of following policy, but I don't want us to, if a commissioner is bringing something before the board that it appears as if they may be going against the grain, and I don't think that was what Commissioner Jones was seeking to do. I think that he just wanted to use the institutional knowledge, because it's very rare in a commission meeting that we have, expanding back Commissioner Norwood and former Commissioner Norwood and Ms. Kitchens. I knew when Ms. Kitchens was coming up here that she was going to bring some institutional knowledge of how we got to that point. But again, I just want us to be mindful that just because a commissioner brings something up, it's not that they may be going against the grain, because I think it's clear that we've identified that we want to make sure that we follow policies and procedures. But again, I saw the understanding that he was just trying to see institutionally how we've gotten the various representation from the county that sits in this seat, because again, I've sat here long enough to see the rotation, and there has not been consistency. So I appreciate his dialogue and asking for that institutional knowledge of those that were here serving before.
Thank you, Commissioner Campbell. I just want to say one other thing. And if it wasn't for an issue, we would have never been talking about this. So, we can talk about we follow and we want to follow policy. Well, why we ain't follow it in the beginning? And then we'll move on. I rest my case.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. West? you
Sure,
wanna say
we
something?
were actually not given that option. The county commissioners made the appointment without following our rules.
But see, the thing is, when we recognize that the rules were not followed, that conversation should have been held then.
Absolutely.
So I just have to.
No.
It's not escalating,
this
this
is not a
conversation is
rebuttal.
dialogue.
Stop.
We asked him.
Point of order. You asked him. Point of order, and it's not to rebuttal. We're not going to keep going on with this.
Wait a minute, we're just asking.
Well,
Well.
go ahead.
Yeah, no. I'm not talking to you. Commissioner Davis.
I would like to hear from Mr. Holmes.
Why you didn't go?
But, again, so we're going to keep going with this? I thought we already asked
Well,
Ms. West.
my perspective is I was done. However, when comments continue to be made, I think it
Come up,
opens
Mr. Holmes.
additional
The majority
questions.
wants you
and
to come up.
I-
Please come up.
Well,
I did not mean to start off.
Mayor, as I was saying, I believe when comments trigger additional questions, we're in the meeting where we can discuss it, the only meeting, and I believe we should have the opportunity to do so.
I think part of the problem was a practical one. How does this body force a commissioner from a different body to serve on your CRA when you don't control that commissioner? The county commission may control that commissioner, and so I think that's how we got into the pattern of maybe us not strictly controlling or following the resolution.
Correct.
And I don't know how you force them to do it now. When you have you can't control the county commissioner, you don't have any control over any of the commissioners. So when that body chooses to select someone, I guess you have the option of saying, we don't want anybody from the county commission.
Correct.
And maybe that's what you do, but in the past, we've chosen not to take that path.
Okay. So to continue, since I have the floor, I move that we modify the resolution to say that the county commission will determine which commissioner serves on the CRA board.
I absolutely agree, and I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you.
Had we not had this discussion, we wouldn't have got here. So
That's right. So,
On to Port Consolidated.
Yes, Mayor, I asked for this item to be added as an emergency item. We received this at about 3:42 today. And this is the engineering party stating that FDEP intend to provide state funding assistance. It may actually amount to $300,000. They did ask that we need to move expeditiously, and therefore a site access agreement is required. So considering that it was given to us as if it's an emergency, I then asked that this be added to the agenda for the approval to sign the site access agreement so that FDEP could get started on what they'd like to do.
You say you received this today, Ms. Carter?
You want me to start over?
No. I say you received this document today?
I received it today at about 3:45 today, even though it's dated April 2nd. Right, but the person who received it went to Chad, and he then sent this to me today at about 3:45. Once I read it, and based upon the email he sent with it, it appears to be something that we need to act on as soon as we can.
Today is the 23rd.
I know, but he sent it today. Chad sent it today, saying that I got it now, so that's why I'm bringing it to you.
Who is Chad, by the way?
That is our engineering person for remediation with Montrose. So because of the urgency that he expressed in his email, and he also mentioned, if you go to page 2 of 4, he is saying where the state pays from $300,000 up to $1.2 million toward the cost of site assessment and remediation. And it goes back in state from December 30th, 1998.
So my question, do we have a dollar figure that would potentially it would take to remediate this petroleum contaminated site?
The only dollar figure we had given in the email is that it will be a minimum of $300,000 on the norm, and that's it.
That's the floor.
That's it.
But
that was the only amount that we received.
Generally, petroleum contaminated sites can easily exceed $1 million. Easily. So if we're going to be rushing in to spend.
No, we don't spend anything. This is.
So the city won't have
We're not going to spend anything, no cost.
No fund.
No, nothing, zero. They simply need, I'm going to allow Ms. West to explain it further.
Yes,
Okay.
please. We need some
Yeah.
clarity. Thank you. Please.
I'm actually not sure why this is on the agenda. We have the full discretion internally to go ahead and move forward. It's just a continuation of the remediation that we're already obligated to do with FDEP.
Okay. There you go. And so it's not costing the city any funding,
No,
and it's
it's
a
not.
continuation of the process.
Just
that's
letting
in
you
place.
know
Okay.
that we're signing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. As an emergency.
Item
So,
8.
it looks like there's some discord. Something you want to share?
No, we're fine.
We need to know. We need to.
We definitely.
We was in the dark.
The attorney is saying that she didn't feel that this needed to come to agenda item or discussion at your level. I did send this over to the mayor and said, the letter said that it wanted me to sign. I've never seen this before. So this I received at 3:45. It wants me to sign because the cost is going to be more than $300,000. I did not actually want to sign this without you all being alert
this
to
was
it
for
as the
information
board.
I understand that.
Okay?
Well, I do understand that, Ms. Carter, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
information.
Yeah.
Thank you. On to the other item added to regular business by Commissioner Davis, city manager as an employee.
Yes, so I want to have a follow-up discussion regarding the due process that was established and completed per the city manager, the city manager's employment contract on page 3, section 5A, that gave you, Ms. Carty, an opportunity to cure the allegations that were presented previously.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe that the commission gave you due process according to your contract in terms of being able to cure those items and to?
Yes, consistent with the agreement, yes.
Okay, okay. So the reason I asked for this to be on the agenda is because I do not believe the following conditions have been addressed in a manner to meet the requirements. And I just want to follow up on the items when you were reinstated that were presented and agreed upon. And one was to restore you to your position as city manager with the following stipulations: to identify and actively work with an experienced city manager as your coach, ongoing. The second thing was to schedule employee workshops with the HR department that would increase employee morale and employer relations, and to complete your training towards city manager certification. And then there was the last item, which was to evaluate our human resources department to determine where there are gaps and fill the gaps with the required and needed employees. And so to that point, Ms. Carty, as I mentioned, I do not believe you have met that criteria. And I move, Mayor, to terminate employment of Marcia Carty as city manager effective at the close of this meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Public comment?
Yes, ma'am. I understood what Ms. Davis said. I also understand that, to my knowledge, Ms. Carty has fulfilled all of those things, including the training, working with the city manager. I'm not sure about the employee workshop. And I understand this is an emergency thing, but to have an emergency thing of this import to the city of Palatka, put it on without advertisement to the citizens, this is not right. This should come to a regular meeting where it's been advertised, because the public needs to know what's happened to Ms. Carty. And I fully disagree with that. She's been a damn good, and I emphasize the word damn good, city manager. And she certainly, this doesn't need, and maybe she knew this was coming, this does not need to come out of the blue. And if it's going to go through, and I suspect it will go through on 4-1 or 3-2 or 5-0, I advise Ms. McCarty to get the meanest employment attorney she can find and sue the city. This is not right. If I was an employee, I'm furious as a citizen. I'm a citizen. You're my elected officials. I voted for every one of you folks. And I support you and I like you. I also support and like Ms. Carty. This is ridiculous. She needs to stay. Do not terminate her tonight. At least if you're going to terminate her, have a regular meeting, advertise with the public. They've been present at every other meeting when the city manager's been terminated or put over the grill. You need to do that with her. Give her equal grilling opportunity like you gave Mr. Bell. Thank you.
We have any further public comments on this item? Seeing no more close public comment, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Okay, come on up quickly, please. Give us your name and.
My name is Robbie Clance. I completely respect this woman right here, but I will totally agree with you 100%. I think this woman should have lost her job months ago. I would point out a clear distinguish of it. Ms. Davis, I'm pretty sure you heard her say she was going to call me, right? After we spoke the other night, I have not heard from her yet. That is not the first time that's happened. I hate it for her, but it is what it is. The woman doesn't do what she says she's going to do. She does everything against it. She makes it difficult on people. I'm sorry. I completely agree with you, Ms. Davis. She needs to go.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Seeing no, we'll come up to Ms. Canty, please.
Beverly Canty, Palaca, Florida. I just want to say, I felt like, I don't know the completeness to Ms. Carter's work, but I think this was very unethical, the way this was done tonight. It could have been handled a lot better and a lot more properly, and that's all I needed to say.
Anyone else? Seeing no one, we're closing public comment. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
I would like to press roll call.
Okay, roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell?
Yes.
Commissioner Borum?
No.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Mayor Carrera?
Yes. Go ahead, Commissioner Davis.
According to the city's charter, Chief Shaw will fill the void at the end of this meeting, and I move that staff contacts FCCMA to identify candidates for an interim city manager, provide options to the commission so that we can consider those candidates, have interviews, and hire an interim city manager as soon as possible to get through the process. I further would like to include that the interim city manager will not be eligible to apply for the permanent position, and for staff to simultaneously contact the Florida League of Cities and/or FCCMA to identify resources to begin our process to seek a permanent city manager.
We have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Question.
Go ahead.
This is only for comment. Now, I spoke with people, I guess, from the Florida League of Cities and whatever, and I'm not sure if, not that I have an issue with Chief Shaw. Chief Shaw.
Chief Shaw, that could be addressed.
Taking that role. But my understanding is you can't hold dual, both of those would be dual roles. Is that?
I'm sorry, I got distracted.
My question is, my only question is, dual roles as it relates to positions, as it relates to being the chief of police as well as being the city manager, which is both like city officials of.
So this would not trigger dual office holding if that is what you're inquiring about, and it would be an acting city manager, not interim for the police.
That's right, acting, not interim.
No, I just wanted to just be clear because that's what I was under the understanding. I don't have an issue with it because we've done it in the past. I just wanted to be
Yes.
clear.
Have the terminology
Yeah,
to reflect
correct.
what's going on. Okay. Any further comments?
No further comment.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Did you vote? Do you want to do roll call again? Roll call, please, Madam Clerk, since it wasn't clear.
Roll call for the,
For the motion just made, the last motion. Go ahead, for the last motion.
Okay. Commissioner Campbell?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis? Yes. Commissioner Moore?
yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Mayor Carrera?
Yes.
Okay, so may I speak now? I mean, it's done. So am I given an opportunity to say anything? After
West, at
being
this point
here
in
since May 2023 and giving all that I've given?
No, we really can't have that right
Okay,
now.
well, I'm just going to say thank you for giving me the opportunity. And there's no need for me to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Do you want to come up, Mr. Hill?
If I may,
Mr. Hill wants to come up.
if I may, this is just a customary practice that we have a member of staff to contact IT department and remove all access immediately.
Assistant Chief right there.
Assistant Chief, can you go?
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Hill.
Harold Hill, 805 St. John's Avenue, Palatka. Just as a point of information, I think it's also incumbent upon the commission to point out to Ms. Carty that within her contract, she also has the right to request a public hearing as a part of what she has, so that she's at least apprised of what her rights are based upon what you have in place. So she has the right to ask for a public hearing, and that's a part of the contract because it has a 30-day notice clause in it.
Yes, I'm sorry, I don't have the contract in front of me.
It just
Did you
failed.
have the contract with you that you could pass to me? I don't have it with me because I wasn't anticipating this. I don't remember that being, waiting.
It's 30 days.
No, that's something different. That's
We had
something
the
different.
30 days.
We've done two.
We've done that.
I'm following up too.
That was what we already went through.
Yeah, we
Well,
already,
we restored. Okay.
yeah.
And they're saying we did restore based on,
Yes,
No,
the
let Ms.
contract
West-
does,
Let Ms. West look at it for the moment and get back to us in a second.
are you taking a recess?
Do you want us to take a recess for 10 minutes? 10-minute recess, please. Come back at 9:10, 8:10, yeah, 8:10, 9:10, 9:10, excuse me, I'm not looking at the right clock, 9:10. What keeps falling? that Mr. Hill brought up, basically, when he came up to the podium about the, her opportunity to have the
Yes,
report, so to speak.
Mr. Hill was referring to what is commonly referred to as a name clearing hearing, which was afforded when this issue was first raised. And if I understand the preceding questions that Commissioner Davis asked, she was referring back to the initial discussion where the termination of the city manager was discussed, and she was giving an opportunity to cure, which she is provided for under her contract. The questions that Commissioner Davis asked were a follow-up to those. A name-clearing hearing is appropriate if basically that public figure's name has been in any way, their reputation has been somehow harmed. They have an opportunity to essentially speak and redeem their reputation. The issues that were the basis for the termination that was laid out in the motion tonight are not of a nature that would trigger reputational harm. That aside, that opportunity in that public hearing was afforded initially when we were provided, when the commission provided a 30-day notice to cure. I don't recall the dates when that initially happened, but that was the reason and the basis, the underlying foundation of the motion that was laid before you tonight, upon which you all voted.
Okay, thank you. And that's clear. Okay, thank you. We'll continue on the agenda to public hearings. Request to annex, amend future land use map and rezone 404 Mission Street, and there are three, Mission Road, excuse me. Ordinance number 202620, ordinance number 202621, and ordinance number 2623. An ordinance of the City of Palaca, Florida, annexing into the corporate limits of the City of Palaca, Florida, certain adjacent property identifies parcel number 02102600000630000011, 401 Mission Road, Palaca. Mr. Gama?
This is a simple request for annexation of a parcel that is 0.39 acre in size, and the reason for the annexation is to connect to city water. This is the last duplex from little subdivision of duplex, about 4 or 6 of those duplexes. This is the last parcel that has they're trying to add in order to get water with the city. They're also doing a land use amendment to change it from the county to the City of Palaca residential medium, and also rezoning from the county residential single family to the City of Palaca residential R2, because that is what is zoned the other parcels that I talked about that have already been implemented. This has been reviewed by the planning board on April 7. The annexation, the future land use amendment, the rezoning meet all the requirements that are established in the Florida statute, as well as in our comprehensive plan and our zoning code. And staff, along with the planning board, we also recommend approval of 3 items. The request is the first public hearing from the second public hearing.
Okay, is there somebody here, is the property owner or their representative here by chance? Okay.
I don't believe the representative is here, the owner.
Okay.
So it's up to the board whether you want to.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions of Mr. Gama?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
That's a duplex, 2 duplexes, or?
It's 1 duplex.
Okay, but adjacent to it, there are 2 more?
Yeah, it goes from the intersection of Mission and
Weaver?
Weaver Road.
Weaver.
Yeah. There are about 4 of these duplexes, and this is the last one. They're all part of the city, and the owner wants to get to obtain water services from the city.
The rest of the residents on Mission Road is county, all right?
The rest will continue to be county, yes.
Is that urban sprawl we were talking about?
I'm sorry.
Does that create that urban sprawl that we talked
No,
about?
it does not. The area is fully developed. It does not create urban sprawl at all. You know, it's urbanized, so, you know, we don't have that issue at all.
But that's almost like the same issue that we had when, I mean, I know we already annexed other parcels in there. But we got to stop doing that because we start talking about annexation within the city. We want to actually have alignment and reason why we're doing it, not just because somebody say these parcels, we want them to get city water and city sewer, but everything around them are the county parcels. And are we making any attempts to try to get other residents in that area hooked up to city water and sewer?
Not right now, Commissioner. We're not going to solicit annexation. This is a voluntary annexation by the property owner. It is adjacent to the city boundaries. So it meets the definition of the statute, and really there's nothing.
So Weaver Road is city road?
I believe that. Well, I
No,
don't
that's
know.
county.
I don't
So-
know whether it's a city road or it's maintained by the county.
And I know we've already approved other ones, but when you're talking contiguous, I don't think that meet contiguous.
Oh, yeah, they're adjacent to it.
To Weaver Road and Mission Road, those are
Mission
county roads,
where
right?
they have those duplexes, I don't know where I have it in aerial.
Yeah.
If you see,
What? See what?
one on that corner, the pink ones, those are duplexes already in the city,
Right.
and this is the last.
So it is
Duplex.
contiguous.
That little subdivision of duplexes, trying to annex to the city.
That
So
we-
it's adjacent to the city.
That we actually annexed in, one by one. My question to you is, those four, let me just say this, those four properties, what are they contiguous to?
All of it surrounded by the city. This is the only part, this is the county, and that's the county.
That's the county, that's the
rest
county.
is the city, So
Now-
we meet the contiguous requirements.
Some contiguous, I thought they touched boundaries. That's what that mean, right?
Yeah, it's adjacent to the boundary of the city.
So St. John's Avenue is the other road on the backside of that. Am I correct? That part of St. John's, and then you got Mellon Manor. That touches St. John's Avenue on that part. And you realize that is the county.
Right.
So I'm not talking about the other duplexes. I'm talking about all those duplexes. They are not surrounded, they're surrounded by the city, but they're not touching the boundaries. Not, are they?
So let me defer with you. It is adjacent to the city. The parcel in question is in orange.
I
The
got it.
pink is city.
City, because we already annexed it. I'm including those. This question probably should have been asked before we even did the other three.
Well, yeah, I was not here.
I-
because of those.
right, so-
All those annexations happened, but, you know, in any case, in order for annexation to happen, it has to be the Florida statute. If not, you know, it's invalid.
So,
Whether the city followed that procedure, I'm pretty sure they did. That's what, you know, they're part of the city.
so as a subject matter expert, this is what I'm asking you, sir. Karen, can you stop? You're making me dizzy. So, the pink properties in the one is in question. They were in the county just like the rest of them, right? That's
Right
around.
now, the orange parcel is in the county.
Yeah, but the pink one, he's saying that before your time, he's saying, yeah.
The pink one and the blue, no, not the blue, I'm sorry, but the pink one, that's the city.
Right. And we did that. But prior to, let's just say, I know you didn't have anything to do with it, so don't think I'm trying to throw it in that box. I'm not. So because I'm trying to set the example, show the example what we're trying to stop happening. So the St. John's Avenue, that's county. Mission Road, that's county. Weaver Road, that's county. So show me where's the city road that is contiguous to. That's what
Yeah, I don't have that information, Commissioner. I can bring that information to you for the second
I mean-
hearing of this application, or, you know, I mean.
I'm not saying not do it. I'm saying we need to be cautious when we're doing it because sometimes we use that word loosely, but it's not contiguous. You know, and we annex these properties in, and that's just a little 4 duplexes in the middle of a subdivision that is all county, and the roads that's leading to them are all county. That's the same thing that happened out with the Kelly Smith development. So, but go ahead. All right.
Yeah, I will bring that information to you. I don't know whether it's a city road, or it's a county road, or it's maintained by the city or the county, but I know that once they annex into the city and they start paying property taxes, you know, some of those property taxes will go towards maintenance of the road.
So
It is in the city.
So let me just say the reason why I'm bringing it up. Now, everybody in that area, the next door neighbors, they call the police, the sheriff's office go. Those 4 people, they call the police, our department has to go. Same thing with fire. And so that's why that's the same thing that's in Rolling Hills now because people were doing that. We need to try to have a concerted effort in trying to make all those places either city or county. Yeah, so I just want to say that to.
They have to do with the enclave and they create service delivery problems, you know, which is the reason that the Florida statute, the state of Florida wants to eliminate them. You know?
Yes.
Yeah, I
So.
completely agree with you.
Oh, that's okay. All right. Thank you.
This
I'm
is
sorry.
a voluntary annexation, you know, just one parcel.
All right. Sorry.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's where it comes.
Anybody else for Mr. Gama? Right, 1 minute. I'm going to open the floor to public comment, and we already have Ms. Canty has already submitted a card. Please come up. Ms. Canty?
Again, I did have a good conversation with this gentleman, and I was coming here because I received a notice that is what he's trying to do. Now, my
Yeah, get
church-
closer to the mic so we can hear you, sorry.
My church has pretty much all the rest of the property there. I have all of this in here.
We can't see.
All of that down there.
Can you point over here?
Yeah, well, we can see.
She's pointing at the blue.
The blue, okay.
The blue area?
All the blue and white area, all the way down, go down, where it ends. Our church owns all of that. We own next to the property, that where it's the county, all of the white going down. We have roughly about 6 acres out there. I was explaining to him, I wanted to just make sure if he was getting annexed in for city, they have a pump on our property that has been taking care of that apartment complex. I wanted to make sure that they wasn't trying to annex a piece of our property because of that pump being there. So I did not know who owned it. When we got our survey, which we have our survey, showed that they had it. We had a brief discussion with somebody, but nothing had never been done, so I needed to just make sure that if he got annexed in, they was not trying to take a strip of our
Okay.
property, if that makes sense.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, and I assure her that that's not the case because the property boundaries, the pump is outside the property line.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Do we have a motion? We did.
Well, you got a question?
Question.
It's, I guess, been a practice in the past that the applicants who
Present, yeah.
are present on the first, especially on the first reading. So are we gonna go back the way we've been doing it? Are we gonna push this, table this to another meeting? Because again, that's one thing that the commission
Yep.
laid out. And if there's no representative, then that means you become the representative as a city employee representing somebody who's first time appearing before the commission. I just want to put that on the table to see if we're going to table this or are we gonna go back to past practices?
Commissioner Warren, I think you actually brought up what I was gonna bring up, so I don't think he answered that question. I make a motion that we table this to another meeting, time certain, our next meeting.
Our next meeting.
So that we could stay in compliance with what we as a board have set forward.
I guess for the record, I wanted to make sure that you know that we did contact the property owner, you, that they had to be here today, and that you weren't present, that you might do exactly this, to
Okay.
postpone the item.
Thank you. We have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. First reading ordinance 2026-27, an ordinance of the City of Palaca, Florida, revising Section 54-32 of the City Code to reduce the number of planning board members from 9 to 5 and 1 alternate, establishing attendance requirements, providing for severability, scrivener's errors, and an effective date. Ms. West?
Well,
Mr. Agamo?
the planning director and I have been flipping coins on which of us was going to handle this particular ordinance. This is before you, reducing the planning board members from 9 to 5, and also establishing a much-needed one alternate on our planning board.
Commissioner Davis?
Based on our discussion in detail at our workshop, I move that we accept ordinance 2026-27.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Is anybody here for public comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. Any commissioner comments? Commissioner Campbell, any comments?
I just want to say that as the president of Florida Black Caucus of Local Elected Officials, we had our annual conference in Tampa where we had as our keynote speakers Bakari Sellers as well as Ms. Donna Brazil, who were both phenomenal. Thank you to Ms. Karen for ensuring that all of my travel and everything was properly put into place. But it was a phenomenal annual conference, and that's pretty much it. So,
Okay. Commissioner Jones?
Just want to say as comment, colleagues, the action that we took a few minutes ago, it didn't feel good at all. And I hope going through this process that we vet and we could get the right person going forward. That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Borum?
No comment, Mayor.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes. First, I'd like to read a card from a citizen that says, "Thank you very much." This is Miss Alexander in Palatka. She said, "Gratitude is not enough to express my appreciation for the most recent shredding event. Please continue them." And I also want to give a special thank you to our PIO who took her time on a Saturday to organize it, to our firemen. It was a request from citizens to do this. And thank you, Greta, for taking the bull by the horn and not just delivering, but you exceeded. And I want you to know that our citizens are so grateful, and thank you for that.
Thank you.
I want to also thank, oh my God, my brain just went
That's
blank.
okay.
I had a ride along last week with
Who?
Joe.
Joe.
I'm sorry. My brain's a little scattered. But with Joe, and I want to thank him because I learned a lot from the eyes of, his department, what they look for, and to, just understand better so we can help make better decisions, look at projects. I got a lot of my questions answered, and I want to thank him for the time to do that. It was very, very helpful. That's it.
Yes, and the only thing this is just for people, if they're not aware, the Bartram Frolic is going on this weekend, if you have time to get to the riverfront. Kids really enjoy it. second graders. I've been there all week, I believe, and now it's open to everybody, as it really has always been, but it's a good educational experience for everybody. With that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.